We lost Fuzzy. Well, it's an auspicious way
Always
of
a good
getting
time.
started.
There it
Yeah,
is.
I
Bill Cipher has struck again.
yeah, I think it's the character rivalry between.
You back with us, Fuzzy?
Yes, I have returned.
Well,
Uh-oh.
Perhaps Bill Cipher doesn't want to hear what I have to say about the duck with the knife.
Jack, can you not hear Fuzzy?
I can't.
Well,
Can you?
I can, yeah.
I will not be silenced by the triangle.
Weird. Fuzzy, are you talking right now?
He was talking, yeah. This might be
Okay,
a
I'm
you
just gonna.
thing, Jack.
Yeah, I'm gonna refresh. Hold on.
Well, this is a fun start.
All right,
Hello?
Try talking
there it
now,
is.
Fuzzy.
I can hear Fuzzy.
Okay, good. We can all hear each other.
So, it turns out perhaps there are certain triangular individuals attempting to censor us. We
Perhaps.
shall not be silenced.
Uh,
In case you're wondering, yes, we are doing a Gravity Falls stream today.
we are in fact doing it because it's the closest Halloweeny thing that we could think of that we've actually watched and want to talk about.
Look,
Yep.
Gravity Falls is kind of horrifying at
There
times.
are there are
Of
some
certain
really
stuff.
horrifying moments, yeah. Those fucking like animal heads. Still, that entire episode, frankly, is kind of a horror show.
How the fuck did they get that past the radar?
I mean, what's even funnier is we now know the lengths that Alex Hirsch went to to get some of the stuff stuff he wanted in, and you know sometimes didn't succeed, and yet that got through.
I'm honestly kind of impressed.
He
Not
wasn't
kind of very
he
impressed.
he wasn't allowed spin the bottle, but he was allowed fucking stuffed animal heads bleeding from the mouth.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild.
He wasn't allowed well, he had to fight for a fucking limerick.
Fuzzy?
Hello?
There you are.
Can you hear
What's
me?
going on with your phone? Or your
No, I was
connectivity?
on my computer. Now I've switched to my phone because my computer apparently decided it doesn't want to work today.
Honestly,
that's
that
unfortunate.
might be for the best. Whenever you're on your computer, your volume like fluctuates wildly.
Yeah.
I still have no idea why that is. I don't know if there's any notable differences in the settings, but like I guess we'll just go from here.
Yep.
Yep.
No choice.
So yeah, so I was saying he had to fight to get like the fucking limerick there was once a dude from Nantucket through.
Oh
But
my god.
he was allowed a fucking like lumberjack getting an axe to the skull.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild.
I just don't get it.
You know what double standards are like in the West.
Yeah, there's a lot more of an allowance towards violence than there is to anything suggestive or sexual.
Yeah.
Especially cartoon violence. You know what? You think we can blame Looney Tunes for that?
Probably. Looney Tunes is
I think-
really influential.
Yeah,
Looney
I feel
Tunes,
like Looney
Tom and
Tunes,
Jerry,
that
all
entire
that.
era,
Yeah.
I feel that they probably like desensitized an entire generation of individuals as well as organizations to cartoon violence.
Speaking
To
of
be
a bit
fair,
of
cartoon violence is lighthearted and such.
yeah, but speaking of violence that didn't get in, and to be fair, I can completely understand this one. Dippy Fresh getting his neck snapped.
Oh my
That was
god.
gonna. Oh God!
Yeah, this in the original
I don't
script,
think I even want to see that.
Dipper apparently just fucking like turned Dippy Fresh's head 180 degrees.
Jesus Christ, Alex Hirsch.
Like Dippy Fresh went up to Dipper and went, "Your hat is on backwards, bro," and Dipper was, "Your head is on backwards, snap."
I like that's a very interesting solely because it says some things about Dipper.
He really fucking hated Dippy Fresh. He really, really hated Dippy Fresh.
Don't really blame.
No, I do not blame him, but we will get to that, probably near the end. But this is
Also, I still, to this day, cannot get over the fact, like, it's very close to the end, but Bill Cipher's meat hat.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's horrifying.
That was like, I just don't understand why that needed to be there.
Why not?
Because Bill Cipher is like awful.
Bill Cipher is evil. Yeah.
Is a monstrosity.
No, that wasn't even about like him being evil. That was more just like,
Oh god, yeah, when fucking Bill rearranged the functions of the
Oh.
holes in Northwest's face. What the fuck, Alex
that was
Hirsch? Like, Jesus Christ.
we've established that that's horrifying, Carl.
Mhm.
Anyway, we should get started proper.
So, Gravity Falls, what's it about, and why is it good?
So it's about twins Dipper and Mabel being sent to visit their great uncle Stan in the podunk little town
Grunkle,
of
as we call him.
Grunkle
Honestly, the one thing that I will always be thankful to Gravity Falls for is they introduced me to the term grunkle, and that
Yeah.
is just such a good term for a word that was otherwise for a term that's otherwise awkward.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
absolutely fair. But yes, they are sent to visit their Grunkle Stan in the podunk little town of Gravity Falls, Oregon, where he operates a tourist trap. Dipper soon finds a mysterious book that reveals that Gravity Falls is not what it seems. There's a whole lot of fucking
Honestly,
shit.
though, let's be real. Even if he hadn't found the book, he would have realized that pretty quickly.
Well,
Mhm.
I mean, to be fair, like, literally, like, what were we gonna say? 10 minutes, 30 minutes after he finds the book, he's introduced to Mabel's boyfriend. What the fuck was even the name of the boyfriend?
Is a gnome. Like, we don't need to remember all
Was
of
it-
these
was it
people's
just-
names.
Was it just Jeff? I don't think it was.
No, I think it was Norman.
Norman,
Or
that's it.
something.
Norman. Yeah, that's right. He went normal man, Norman. And yeah, Dipper spent the entire.
Oh right, there were several gnomes in a trench coat. Not
Yeah,
a gnome.
that's what it was. Like Dipper spent most of the episode thinking it was a zombie. It turned out to have
Okay.
to be several gnomes in a fucking
Love
hoodie
the
and
twist
jeans.
there, by the way.
Oh no, it's
Absolutely love
hilarious. And I
like, there's one thing I'd like to talk about though. Wasn't he like adult sized?
yes.
Can we talk about the unsettling implications of that?
What do you
No.
mean?
Because the Mabel is 12 and her boyfriend, quote unquote, was the size of an adult and presumably a grown man, and no one thought to question it.
I mean, he was teenager sized, is the point.
Still, a 12-year-old is a 12-year-old, Millington.
No, I get that, but you know, depending on how old that teenager is, you know, there is leeway there.
It's a bit
Not
too
to
close
mention-
for comfort for me,
Not to
personally.
mention, the only people who knew about this were Dipper, who had more issues over the fact that he thought he was a zombie, Stan, who is Stan, and Seuss,
Okay.
who is Seuss.
Okay, I will say, I feel like Stan probably would have had more of a problem with it later in the series.
Yeah.
Possibly,
Because
yes.
I believe at this point, Stan kind of just still didn't really give a crap. Right?
Yeah, and I think there's an element of, you know, early installment weirdness.
That
though-
is true, yeah.
Though Stan did cause one one of my favorite lines from that from the first episode of after Dippy yells zombie, Stan in the bathroom is like, did somebody say Crombie? Crombie, what is that? It's not even a word. You're losing your mind. It's just such a weird non sequitur, but it's so funny.
Also, given the context, I'm curious whether he actually misheard or if he was just doing his
No, I think
refuge in.
I think he genuinely misheard because he was alone. There would be no reason for him to to fake it.
I don't know. When you speaking as someone with experience, when you've gotten deep enough into a certain lie, it tends to stay with you.
That's fair.
Don't ask me how I know that.
Another favorite line. I mean, the entire scene when the gnomes reveal themselves to Mabel is so fucking funny. Like,
it's great.
When they do the whole "Will you join us in holy matrimony?" Blah, I can't talk today. It's just like so fucking funny. Also,
That said-
Schmegulok.
Also, it occurs to me that gnome is absolutely a pedophile, huh?
Oh no, the implications of what they wanted to do with Mabel is horrifying. It's
Oh, it is
absolutely
absolutely-
horrifying.
It is disturbing as hell.
Yeah.
But we laugh at it because not only are they are thwarted in comedic fashion,
And because they
in a rather humiliating way as well.
yeah, they're like tiny little
Also,
gnomes.
it's Mabel.
We're not gonna get into this right off the bat, Fuzzy.
No, it's fine. I was just that was just a joke. That was
Yeah.
not. I'm not trying to get into it. We'll get into it when the episode in question comes up.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. But again, like the reason it doesn't seem as bad is, because like when fucking Dipper first finds the gnomes and like the head gnome is like, "You're messing with the wrong people, boy," and Dipper just like gets a shovel and flips the gnome away.
Honestly, considering certain knowledge of what happens in the future, I'm more surprised that he didn't start bashing them.
Again, this is literally the first supernatural thing, and like Dipper did not take them seriously at all until they fucking created the kaiju gnome.
Yeah, exactly. The Gnome Zord.
Um,
The Gnome would dang it. Voltron Gnome.
yeah,
Oh, Zords and Voltron are the same thing.
but yeah, like he didn't take them seriously until then. Like, and even after after that happened, there was an element of not taking them seriously because they fucking blew them away with a leaf blower.
Which was great.
Also, they're not like the cool fantasy kind of gnomes. They're garden gnomes.
Yeah,
Like fantasy gnomes
Almost
will
literally.
generally, huh?
Almost literally, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
fantasy
clearly.
gnomes are weird. Like they're either like technological marvels or they have weird fairy magic or something. Garden gnomes are literally just men in small men in hats.
Yes.
Also, the implications of that race as a whole, considering they're all male, aren't they?
the ones that we see, yeah.
Is this a Goblin Slayer situation?
Oh, please, God, no.
Look, I hate that show much more than the average person,
look, we've already
but it feels like a Goblin Slayer situation.
my dude, we've already said that the implications are disturbing. It is just like completely
No. No, I apologize, but I'm stupid and slow. I didn't realize that those were the horrible implications you were talking about.
Yeah, no, the implications are horrifying, absolutely horrifying. But it is wiped out by the fact that they are still just fucking gnomes, and Dipper can just like fucking scoop one away with a shovel.
I feel like there's a world where if they were a bit older and or Dipper understood the implications more, he
Hmm.
wouldn't be as merciful.
Yeah.
Probably not. Yeah.
But
But
like
That's
we've
neither here nor
established.
there.
Okay, can I just like talk about something real quick that is like one of the only things that balances out my dislike of Mabel as a character is how much I love Dipper and the fact that he's kind of a badass.
yeah.
Like he is very much his Grunkles' uh
Great nephew.
Grinfew. Look,
He
it
just
doesn't work.
don't
It
force it.
doesn't.
Don't force it.
Look, I was trying. Okay, at least I tried.
Hashtag you tried.
Anyway,
yes,
last thing to say for the pilot before or the first episode, because we're already 16 minutes in and we have covered one episode of like 48.
Let's not go episode by episode because that would take
Yeah,
4
take too long.
hours.
Yeah.
Give general impressions.
Last thing for the episode is the fact that the hilarity of the fact that Dipper trying to reveal to Mabel that he thought Norman was a zombie. He turned the fucking book to the right page initially because he turned it to gnomes,
Oh yeah.
and then was like, "Oh wait, sorry, shabam, undead." Gotta love that little bit of foreshadowing. Anyway, so yeah, do we want to basically go half a season by half a season then?
More or less, yeah. That's similar to the structure. It's a Monster of the Week show anyway, so it's like
For the most part, yeah.
First half of the first season is the most episodic though.
And
Like
especially since like we can probably go by that logic also because the show kind of is neatly set up in that way as well. Now, here's the question.
Yes.
How well do you remember the individual plots as opposed to the overarching storyline, or have you watched it recently?
Watched it recently because
I rewatched most of it fairly recently. I
Yeah.
got like halfway through season 2 before I got struck by other things.
Yeah.
the reaction channel I watched through recently, so
I have not watched it I watched it the first time I watched it, and I have not watched it since then. So while I remember a lot of the overall story beats, the specifics are kind of lost on me.
okay, so I'll very quickly go through like the first
No,
let's say
that's not
10
necessary.
episodes.
I think it's more interesting if we talk about it with these different perspectives.
All right. Well, like,
It was a bit more far removed.
what do you remember about the Gobblewonker episode?
Remind me what those are.
So
The Gobblewonker was the sea monster one, except it was a lake.
Yeah.
It was the Loch Ness monster.
Yeah, it was,
Right,
and
like
it was
that's
our
what that was doing.
yeah, and it was our
Yeah.
first introduction to Old Man McGucket spitting in a bucket.
Yeah, Old Man McGucket is a character I have a very complicated relationship with,
Yeah.
if I think about it, because like I
He's
can
such
never.
a tragic character, honestly.
He's
In
tragic,
hindsight.
but I can never tell how much of him is played for comedy and how much of him is just genuinely horrifying. Which is a lot of the show, honestly.
Yeah. It's sort of the point of the show, but Gobblewonker is probably one of the weaker episodes, I would say.
To be
It
fair,
did
they were only
introduce us
just
to
established.
it did introduce us to the gay cops who were
Yeah.
forced to remain in the realm of innuendo because of
Yeah,
Disney
Blobs and Derland.
being.
Blobs and Derland.
Yeah.
Though it did
They're
I mean,
cool, as about as good as cops can be.
yeah. It was also our first like sustained adventure with Seuss, which is good.
Love Seuss. Seuss is
Still not sure entirely what Seuss's deal was.
Idiot savant,
Yeah.
maybe? I don't
No,
know.
I'm still half convinced that he was at least partially we heard a lot about his like mom's side of the family, but we never heard about his dad's side, did we?
Yeah, because his dad was a deadbeat.
Yep.
Was his dad a deadbeat, or was his dad just like a Yeti or something?
Deadbeat.
I'm
That
still-
was a
that's my-
deadbeat. established, like in a
Oh.
season 2 episode. I
Yeah,
think it's
Huh.
the one with Blendon returning.
yeah, it is.
Yeah, because I'm just kind of like convinced that at least somewhere in his I'm still convinced that Seuss is not entirely human.
Hmm.
I mean, he was
It would
referred
not-
to as some sort of hairless gopher.
You know, that is fair. But, like, you know what I mean, right? Like,
Yeah.
Seuss gets up to a lot of stuff that is, like, a bit too on the nose to be explained away with, I'm not saying he's aware of it,
Yeah,
and I love the guy,
Hmm.
but, there's a lot of stuff he gets up to that is just very slightly,
oh damn!
like,
I should have brought out my copy of Journal 3. Damn, I forgot to do that.
Oh well.
Because the author, I'm just gonna keep the author hidden for the until we get to it. Even though
yeah,
you know
spoiler warning, let's go in order, yeah.
we probably already all know about it, including the audience. But let's keep it a secret just for the time being. But the author does do like little profile pages or double spreads for the characters, and does include Seuss, and he does have questions about what the fuck Seuss is.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
that's
of
great.
all the people, the author would have the best idea of this stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, I think the issue, getting back to
I'm
the
pretty sure the author was aware of Seuss before Stan was.
no, No.
I don't think so.
no,
No, the timeline doesn't match up.
Wasn't the author in Gravity Falls before Stan arrived?
yes, but
Yeah,
I'm
but-
not even sure if Seuss was born by then.
correct.
Oh, was it that long ago?
I'm
It was
not
like
sure.
30 years ago. It was like
How old
30
is
years
Seuss?
ago.
He's like in his 20s, right?
Seuss is like,
He's in his 20s.
yeah.
At most, yeah. So yeah, the timeline doesn't match up.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Does Seuss have an age? No. Let's see if the wiki gives him an age.
We're getting lost in the weeds real fast here.
I know. So okay,
Look,
while I'm
the-
doing this, I will say I think the issue with
Okay.
with the Gobblewonker episode is that it relies a lot heavily on the sympathy of the relationship with Stan, and that just hasn't been established yet.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and that's one of the bits of early installment weirdness, really,
Yeah.
that comes up quite frequently. Is they just weren't that close, and so a lot of the emotional beats that they're going for don't happen early on.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
said,
it
the
doesn't
next
really kick in until like mid-season 1, I'd say.
yeah. That said, the
And it doesn't really come to a head until the end.
that said,
season one,
the next episode,
Like the finale.
yeah, but the next episode, Headhunters, is a fucking classic.
Headhunters is hilarious. I love that episode.
And also terrifying, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I mean those
Yeah,
fucking
is
wax
the wax-
statues nearly killed Stan.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think they could have successfully killed Stan, but they might have killed the kids.
Cause yeah, apparently Stan had a wax museum attraction
For some reason.
because he found it at a garage sale and stole them from the guy openly. Like he even says, "I said I'm gonna rob you," and then just gets bored of them and sticks them in a room. And then I think Seuss
I
finds them
wonder,
again.
though, because, okay, I'm just going to bring this up. Earlier on, I don't know how much of Stan's own words to trust,
Yeah,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Especially in the context of those earlier episodes. Because, like, he's something of a pathological liar, self-admittedly.
yeah.
And I just feel like a lot of the stuff in the earlier episodes, we kind of just take his word for it, and I don't know how wise that is.
Yeah.
But
So
it's still-
Seuss is 21 at the start of the show. 22 after his birthday, mid-season 2.
Huh. I actually thought it was mid-20s, but yeah, that checks out.
And let's see if I can figure out.
Seuss's age is kind of hard to tell because he's like,
He's very childish, yes.
Yeah.
yeah, he does have that. He's kind of like because the role of childlike wonder, Dipper is too jaded and Mabel is too Mabel to really have that sort of childlike wonder about them. So that kind of goes to Seuss
Yeah.
by default. Though I hope you can appreciate the level of restraint I'm showing in avoiding mentioning Mabel too much earlier on.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've talked about that off stream,
Yeah.
and I think we'll really get into the weeds in the
Second
of the stream.
Second season, I think, is when we'll
second
really
season.
get into it. Yeah. So let's see.
The Wax Museum stuff was kind of horrifying, though I do think the danger that Stan might have been in was overstated due to his own obfuscation at the time.
Very possibly, yeah. But it was
'Cause
still
again, he didn't trust them yet.
no. Well, I mean,
Like, I
he
think-
never. The point is, he never intended to tell them about
Care
this
about
stuff.
He didn't intended to care about them, I think.
Mm.
He was kind of just doing it out of a sense of obligation.
Yeah.
Because I think he did, because like, I'll keep the exact information about the family secret for obvious reasons until we get to it. But he did, so he is their grunkle because his sister is their great grandma.
No.
Or is it his brother?
Brother.
Yeah, because the brother had a somewhat gender neutral name, so I could never tell.
Oh, Sherman.
Yeah, Sherman could go either way, honestly.
So just to so I'm just trying to do this in my head. So Stan arrives in Gravity Falls 10 years after his, let's say, 18th birthday. So he's 28 at the time. And he is... How old do we think Stan is?
Stan's probably in his early 60s or so.
At
50s,
least his
60s.
60s. It's, even if you have kids early on, it's hard to be a great anything, especially since he's older, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
even if they had,
Yeah,
15
he's
years
so
older
he's
than
so
Sherman.
he's in his 60s. So yeah, he's been in Gravity Falls for 30 odd years, let's say.
the better part of his life, honestly, probably the majority of his life.
So yeah, so he was definitely there. He definitely arrived there before Seuss was born. But yeah, so I mean, I just find Headhunters hilarious. The line when Stan sees the melted wax Abe Lincoln, the line, "Who left the blinds open? Wax John Wilkes Booth, I'm looking in your direction." It's just so funny.
Especially in the context that
They are alive, yeah.
They are alive and he knows it. Because, like, in the moment, it does seem like he's just being silly. But, like, in the context that he absolutely knows what the hell is going on with these things, it's just, it adds that layer of,
I mean, we could go through every episode and just pick out hilarious lines, because this show is so fucking funny. It's so
It's very
funny.
well written, yes. You can say a lot of things about Alex Hirsch, but he's a good showrunner. Also, that reminds me about on that subject. I know you were saying that we were getting into the weeds real quick, Jack. But like, if you think about it, isn't that literally what Hirsch designed this show for?
You're not wrong.
I mean, yeah.
Right?
So
Considering
an
all
aspect of the show
messaging and stuff.
Yeah. An aspect of the show we haven't yet mentioned is the fact that there were cryptograms throughout the entire fucking series. Like,
Yep.
and they started off relatively easy. Like, they just used
Basic substitution
basic
ciphers and stuff.
substitution ciphers, yeah. But in season 2, they went to the Vignes cipher. I think that's how it's pronounced. Or Vignes.
Some dead guy's name, yes.
Yeah, Vignes cipher, which is fucking complicated, and requires you to find a
Find the
keyword
key.
throughout the episode.
Yeah.
And as I said, the reaction channel that I watch, Blindwave, watched through this recently, and they did all of the ciphers, and they were having to search out these keys during season 2, and some of them, like one of them, they searched for a good 30 minutes going through the episode trying to find where the fuck it was.
Oh my god. That's an incredible attention to detail, honestly.
Yeah.
It's less attention to detail, more after a certain point it more becomes the unique insanity that only creatives can have.
Yeah, I mean, it's in a similar vein to Futurama, where like they created that alien language that they thought nobody
Yes.
would be able to translate, and within like a few episodes,
Yes.
people had translated it fully.
The only people more insane than the authors of a work are the fans of a work.
Yep.
Yeah,
Is one of the most reliable constants of fiction.
and like most certainly the
Honestly, you know who got that ball rolling?
go on.
Who?
As with many other people, as with most things, honestly, Grandpa Tolkien.
Of course it was.
I'm
Because
not-
no, he didn't fully form Elvish, right?
Mm.
Like he only created the basic rules and structure and some of the words, but people managed to derive that into a complete language.
Mm-hmm.
Like and I'm pretty sure even Tolkien and his J.R.R. and Christopher Tolkien themselves didn't really expect how in depth the fandom would go.
Yeah.
I do know that Tolkien was a linguist, so he did basically
Yes.
create
Yeah.
at least the foundation of the Elvish language,
Yeah.
if not the whole
But
thing.
like with many things, he got the ball rolling, but other people have like since then taken it up to 11 and beyond.
But yeah, like season 1 ciphers are generally just like little jokes they put in. Like, again, assuming that, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. And then obviously it completely took off as this thing you could do with Gravity Falls. And then they started really playing with it in season 2, because they have basically 2 ciphers. They've got the Vigenair one, which remains just like the little jokey ones that they do. And then they've got the number-based ones that correspond to the pages that you can put together and create basically a giant poster. And those are actually like ominous sometimes.
Yeah. Also, I would like to. Okay, here's another question that's more general, and I think is more in line with how we want to handle this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there was an identifiable turning point to when Stan sort of started caring more about the kids?
Hmm.
I
At
think
the absolute
beginnings of it-
latest, the Land Before Swine. At the absolute
also
latest.
please don't refer to them by episode titles, because I
Um,
don't
the
remember
one-
episode titles
That's
even.
late season 1. I believe that's like the episode.
That's the episode
18,
before the 2-part
18.
finale. That's the one where the dinosaur steals Waddles.
No, I do think the beginnings of it was in the Wax Museum episode, because I think that's when he realized they were getting into some of the more dangerous stuff than he expected them to.
I don't know. Trying to think.
I think he starts getting more invested in them around. I want to say probably episode 4. which is when we meet Lil Gideon.
Look, I've already expressed my thoughts on evangelical Christianity, and that's literally what he is.
Mm.
Oh yeah, no, he's 100% Southern preacher.
And it's just like horrifying.
I mean, the point
Also-
is throughout season 1, it's little hints. Like at the start of episode or the end of episode 1, Stan lets them take one thing from the gift shop.
And
No.
he doesn't. You know how we learn much later on how significant that is,
Yeah.
considering how much he loves money.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. Gobblewonka, he wants to spend the day with them.
I think he's trying, because as we established later on, he's kind of just a lonely old man,
Hmm.
and he
Mhm.
does want to connect with his family.
I
He
think
really does. Like,
yeah, and I think
he's-
I think there's an element of guilt there as well, because this is
Yes,
likely the first time he's
absolutely.
seen a family member since the incident.
Yes, the incident. We will be very vague
We'll
about
get
that for a
into that
while.
later.
We'll be
But,
vague on that until we
yeah.
get to season 2. But that's
Not only is he like just lonely,
Mm.
I think he does genuinely want to make up for a lot of the times he's been absent in his family's life.
yeah,
And it shows. It's just that earlier on, first of all, he still hasn't gotten over his like long-standing like trust and people issues
hmm
for obvious reasons. And also that he just doesn't know how to like treat people with care. He's not a sociopath by any means. I've seen
No.
that like accusation thrown around. And I think that's just missing the whole point of his character.
yeah.
Yeah,
He's just very, very stunted.
and very
both socially-
jaded as well.
Very jaded, very stunted, like socially, emotionally.
I think
It's
I think
hard
there's
to-
also an element of he knows what he's doing, down in the basement, and he's trying.
He doesn't want
he's
to
try-
get.
he's trying to distance himself from them so that A, they don't get involved, and B, if he pulls it off, because little bit into
He has that bit of imposter syndrome.
well, I mean, little bit into season 2, he is knowingly, taking government waste, and he has to know that, that could come back to bite him at some point. So he wants, while he obviously doesn't care about rule breaking, he also doesn't want, these kids to get attached to him, and then suddenly, they have to see him get arrested, and it's, it's sort of a
Well, I don't think there's a government competent enough to arrest Stan, but I do think he'd have to go on the run.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he'd get caught, but I
yeah.
do think he would have to basically take himself out of their lives completely.
Mhm. But
Which,
I mean, yeah,
he just doesn't want to do that to him.
I mean, it's very, very apparent actually looking at the episodes. It's very rare that Stan has a segment of an episode with Dipper.
Early on, yeah.
I mean, for most of season 1, honestly, like
Yes. No, that's what I mean by early on.
Interactions in the first season are with Mabel and Seuss.
yeah, and
Because
occasionally
he knows that Dipper is more similar to him than Mabel and Seuss are.
yeah,
You know what? I think Seuss had a lot to do with keeping Stan sane all
Mm.
those years.
oh yeah, definitely.
He did basically adopt Seuss. Like, let's be real.
Oh no, 100%. But the point is, I'm looking at these episodes. The first time I would say that there is really a Dipper and Stan like segment in an episode is like the episode like 2 episodes before the finale in season 1.
Oh, the
The
Dinosaur
boy band
episode,
one.
yeah.
The boy band one.
the boy band one, right?
Yeah.
Yes, because isn't the boy band episode also the introduction of Cypher?
No,
No.
that's Dreamscapers.
That's
the
Dreamscapers.
penultimate.
Yeah, that's the first part of the 2-part finale. Boys Crazy is
the boy band episode then.
Boys Crazy is the episode where Mabel, Grenda, and Candy go to try and see their favorite boy band and end up finding out that they're like genetically engineered like boy band members and then release them. And there's this whole thing, but Dipper and Stan's storyline is that Dipper finds out that Robbie is using some hypnotic CD to
subliminal messaging in backward soundtracks or something
to keep
like
Wendy interested in him. So Stan teams up with him to give a teenager what for.
And boy, does he.
Yep.
I mean, there's so many good lines in that fucking episode from Stan. Like, finally, a good reason to punch a teenager in the face.
Yep.
Look, let's be real. Can we just admire Stan's restraint for a moment? The fact that he actually did seek out a valid reason.
Yeah, I mean, this is also the
doing
season.
It at one point in his life.
This is also the season where he tried to set little Gideon on fire. Like,
but little Gideon doesn't count.
Yeah, to be fair, that's fair, but it's so fucking funny. Like, Gideon steals it's the pool episode. Gideon steals the pool chair from him, and he like tries to use his watch to set Gideon on fire, just going, "Yes, burn the child."
I do love the passive aggressiveness between those two.
I mean, that relationship is so funny. Yeah, that relationship is so funny. Like, we get so many times.
I feel like Gideon doesn't deserve to have like that level of mercy from Stan. Honestly, look, I really dislike Gideon. I know that's what the character was designed for. But I do absolutely agree with the notion of burn the child.
Mm. I mean, the fact is that, you know, Stan dislikes Gideon because Gideon is in, you know, the same business and in the same town, and is more successful about it because, you know, Stan is a crabby old man and Gideon is a cute little kid. But in terms of the actual schemes that Gideon puts through, like, Stan doesn't take him seriously in that sense. Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
Until he starts messing with the kids, in which case he gets a bit more...
even then, like, he doesn't... I don't think he ever really knows about what Gideon does to the kids in a general sense.
That's actually fair. It's like, to him, basically, they're still playing in the kiddie leagues.
Yeah.
I think he also trusts Dipper enough, because let's be real, Dipper very much inherited the bloodline.
Yeah.
Dipper definitely comes across as the more responsible one.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
not in terms of responsibility. I mean in terms of his competence when dealing with the supernatural.
I would also say that their relationship gets, or Stan and Gideon's relationship gets a lot worse after that first Gideon episode, and it is because of what he you know, now that the kids dislike him as well. Because he was all willing to work with the Gleefuls in that episode, and after that he doesn't even entertain it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I really like that about Stan. Like, that's the most important thing about Stan that I think sets him apart from a lot of the other characters of his archetype. You know, the crotchety old man who's obsessed with money. That's a very common archetype, but what I think sets Stan apart is that at the end of the day, that's all well and good, but once his family like gets involved, like once there are actual stakes, he is absolutely like knows where his priorities lie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're at the 3/4 hour mark, and I want to get on season 2 once we hit around the hour mark. So, because that's obviously, I want to be able to talk about that
For, like,
properly.
I think it's more important to talk about like the characters than the story beats. Honestly,
That's fair.
I mean, there's some really good standalone episodes
Yeah.
here and there.
That's
like,
that's what I mean. I just
Double
want to
Dipper
shout
is
out.
a really fun one.
Yeah, I just want
no,
to shout
Double
out.
Dipper is like okay. Dead ass Double Dipper is like one of my nightmares. I do not enjoy messing with the clone stuff. Like
Mm.
clones of the self are for some reason just viscerally terrifying to me, and I don't know why.
Well, that's a run of 3 really good episodes because you got Double Dipper the clones, you've got Irrational Treasure with Quentin Tremblay, and then you got Time Traveler's Pig with Blendan Blandon.
Oh yeah, that one's great.
Like that's a set of 3 really good episodes in the middle of the season.
Mm-hmm. Nightmares is all right too. It's just kind of built on a faulty premise.
I mean, Robbie just isn't that fun of a character.
That's what I meant. Rob built on a faulty premise.
I
Going
don't
with
even
that
remember who
example.
Robbie is.
Robbie is
Wait,
Wendy's boyfriend.
Robbie is the
at
like
start.
goth kid.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
did not
Yeah.
like him at all.
I mean the hilarity, the really funny thing about him is that he's this fucking goth guy, and then his parents are the cheeriest funeral directors ever.
Yep. His parents are very funny.
Yeah, like that's where I get
That
the
just
humor
makes-
from him. Really, is like that
That just makes
fucking
him.
contrast.
That just makes him even more of a disappointment.
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely. But then you
Which
also
I guess is the
have
point of that character, is that he's a disappointment to everyone.
then you have a Little Dipper and probably my favorite of the episodic episodes in season 1, Summerween. Summerween's really fun.
there are some fun bits, but like I always struggle with especially with the episodes where they play on the sibling drama.
Oh,
Ah.
that. Yeah. I can see that.
And
I also really like most of the back half of season 1 is really good, honestly, though.
yeah, it is good.
If they're
I mean,
Boss
Carpe Diem.
Mabel, Bob
Carpe
was
Diem
pissed
is one that manages to succeed despite the sibling drama.
yeah. Boy is Crazy, as we said, is funny. The deep end is also really good because of the pool stuff and all that. And Land Before Swine is really fun.
Land Before Swine is, yeah, it just works. It just really is just so funny.
It also
Um,
brings back so many memories.
Yeah,
I got up to a lot of Land Before Time as a child.
same. I
Yeah.
remember Land Before Time.
To this
really
day,
fondly.
the very first installment of Land Before Time, to this day, messes me up.
It's a sad movie.
You know what? I actually watched that movie before I watched The Lion King.
Mhm.
So that was
Oh.
actually my first introduction to Death of Parent, rather than Lion King or Bambi.
Yeah, Lion King was my first, if I recall correctly, and that one fucked me up.
I
I
think
honestly
I
don't
watched
remember.
Bambi at a time when I was too young to really understand anything that was happening.
Mine was
Like, I barely remember the movie.
Yeah, mine was probably Land Before Time because I wasn't my family just in general wasn't a huge Disney family, so I don't think I probably would have. I probably I obviously did watch Lion King, but I don't think it was like a concerted effort type thing. But the thing to remember about Land Before Swine is that Old Man McGucket ate his way out of a dinosaur.
Oh yeah, that was fucking brutal.
Also, again, how did they get that past the censors?
I don't know.
Very carefully. Refuge and Audacity at its finest.
Old Man McGucket got eaten on screen.
He did. He really did.
And at that point, there were only two ways out, and both of them were horrifying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we get introduced to quite a few fun characters over the course of the first season. We meet Mabel's friends, Grenda and Candy. We meet the teenagers, including major character Wendy, and as well as Pacifica Northwest, the resident alpha bitch of the preteen crowd. Old Man Regaki, we already mentioned. Seuss, we already
Toby
mentioned.
Determined, the
Toby
Gleefuls,
Determined.
Lazy Susan, Tyler Cute Biker. As we've
Derland and Blubs, we talked about a bit.
mentioned the cops, yeah.
Oh, we should talk about some of the illustrations Alex Hirsch does on occasion, set after the story.
Um,
Like what?
Didn't he do one for the twins' 21st birthday?
he very
Right, he
probably
did.
did.
Things like that. Also, how do you feel about the implications that Dipper and Pacifica probably ended up together?
Yeah,
I don't
was
mind,
fine with it.
actually.
I also don't mind, because like Pacifica, again, is one of those things that really separate the good shows from the largely forgettable ones. Archetype character that does engage in character development and growth.
Yeah. It's wild, isn't it?
Even, you know what? Pacifica is the much more extreme version of what Amity started as.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it really does. I really liked her character by the end.
Yeah.
Same.
No, definitely.
Like, I don't mind if she. I really did. I mean, there were ship teas even like from day one, but it was hindered by the fact that they're 12.
the ship tease didn't start until season 2 for sure.
Yes,
Chip tease was became a thing in like halfway through season 2 between
Yeah.
the two of
and
them.
also they're 12, so it's less noticeable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
we should talk about the end of season 1 before we get into season 2.
yeah. So let's talk about
19 of season 1 introduces our favorite villain, Bill Cipher.
Oh, Bill Cipher.
Classic villain.
Yeah.
Absolute classic.
He gets introduced by taking the teeth of a deer out and trying to give them to a kid.
The kid in question is Gideon, who is, a nightmare, but
Yeah.
that's besides the point.
I like his ending line is like, or when he leaves that meeting, it's still so funny. Reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Bye, God, bye.
I believe he's voiced by Alex Hirsch.
He is voiced by Alex Hirsch. Yes.
He is, yes. I'm glad because, like,
he injects so much personality
because I think it's very difficult to really get a grasp on a character like that, and when if you have the talent to voice act the character, you probably should.
I mean,
as the writer.
So the characters that Alex Hirsch, who is the show's creator and main writer and all that,
it's Stan, Suits, and Cipher, isn't it?
And Old Man McGucket, as well as a bunch of littler roles.
McGucket is the less identifiable one there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He also voiced Dippy Fresh.
Oh my god!
Of course he did. Why wouldn't he?
Yeah. The hilarious thing is that do you all remember back in 2020 when Rudy Giuliani
Yes, that's actually how I learned that he voiced
set up the Vodafone hotline. Hirsch called up with in the voices of Seuss and Stan, basically bullshitting it. It's so funny.
Absolutely iconic.
It's so funny.
You know what would have been funnier to me? But if one of the people had realized that they were Gravity Falls characters, which would have made the interactions much more interesting, but that's too much to expect from people who would work in those
types of places. That's the point, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the plot of Dreamscapers is that Gideon wants the deeds of the Mystery Shack, has tried many times to get it, so decides to call on Bill Cipher, a dream demon, to get the combination to stand safe out of his mind.
Who he thinks is a dream
Who
demon
he thinks is
at
a
this
dream
point.
demon.
I don't think that's all he is.
No.
No, absolutely.
So Bill goes in Stan's mind. Dipper, Seuss, and Mabel go in as well, and fight Bill in there. There's also the subplot of Dipper feeling very alienated by Stan because, and this is the one aspect of Stan's relationship with Dipper I really don't like, is the whole treating him like shit to toughen him up.
That is something that I am not a fan of, but I do.
It tracks a lot with Stan's character, though.
Not only does it track, I do think one important thing to bear in mind is that Stan is. We know that he's distancing Dipper at this point for obvious reasons. However, I like that they address it in story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I like that it's not just something that I like that it's the characters are aware that it's happening, and Stan and Dipper actually does. He's like 12. As like good as he is at dealing with all this supernatural BS, the boy's 12. Cut him some slack.
Yeah.
So I do like that they address it, and they do work on it.
Yeah.
Because I think you can notice something of a difference in. Because, like, I know he still has elements of that, but you can notice later on that he's trying.
Yeah.
A little bit to
As I said, it's
change how he interacts with Dipper.
It's
and
just
that's the thing.
It's just a storyline
go
that
on.
I just don't like in any show.
It absolutely stinks of certain inherent biases and stereotypes that I'm not a fan of and don't really have a place in the modern day. But like, you have to remember, it's a thing that does exist.
I know.
Still, sadly. And as a
Mhm.
result, it makes a certain amount of sense that it's addressed, and their reactions and responses to it are still better than anything we can hope for.
I suppose. As I said, it's just one of, like, there's a lot of, well, there's some like little things in Gravity Falls that I don't like, and that is one of them.
Yeah, I do think it makes sense to a certain extent because he was rushing, right?
Yes.
He didn't want it to go on forever, and he also couldn't be sure that he'd like get enough seasons, so he was trying to make the show as dense as possible. Didn't he say as much later on?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
it, like,
I
makes
think
a lot of
that
sense
is
to me.
absolutely to its detriment in season 2, which we will get to. But yeah, there's some really good. There's regardless some really good stuff because like just everything with Bill is just so funny, and
Yeah,
just
Bill
sometimes
is
genuinely
really-
scary.
Yeah, Bill dances back and forth across the line of comedy and horror.
But like
It's like tap dances back and forth across it with casual ease.
like there's the horror of him blowing a hole in Dipper's torso, and then there's the hilarity of him summoning Seuss's nightmare, which is the British bulldog.
Yep.
When I say that, I mean a literal British bulldog, not the wrestler. Like just
The character from Alan Moore's Marvel Man.
Yeah, like a giant bulldog that goes, hello, 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 who's up for a stick in the pudding, with a fucking, like, cane and just whacks Seuss in the stomach.
Which, again, the British Bulldog part is fine. The cane in the stomach has some unsettling implications.
But, and then the fact that, they do manage to beat him. I mean, only a little, but they do.
And then Gideon just cuts the fucking knot and blows up the stake.
Yeah.
With dynamite.
How much do you think that has to do with the fact that they were fighting in Stan's mind? Because Stan might have been able to put up a decent fight on his own.
Well, I think the point is that by that point Gideon had called off the deal, and Bill basically had no investment to keep going.
Yeah, he wasn't really trying that hard anymore, and
No.
and also I think he was developing something of an interest in the kids.
Oh
Which,
no,
you know,
he was
is exactly
absolutely
as
by
horrifying
that.
as it
Yeah,
sounds.
by that point he was absolutely interested in Dipper, and you got to remember, he was after a certain thing, and so it is much more profitable for him to keep Dipper around and interested in
Yes,
Bill
it's so much more
than
efficient.
to take him out now.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Because
again, kind of came back to bite him, as it
Yes.
tends to do to
Yes.
bad guys. But like that's just
But,
bad
you know,
guy 101.
Yeah, but you know the point is that Gideon had tossed Bill aside, so there was no avenue for him to get out from there. But but Dipper is interested in supernatural stuff, and now he's met Bill, and he's going to be interested in that sort of stuff.
Also, people who are not profit-minded are not as easy to entice, but it's also usually much more effective and efficient to entice them.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
The
The
other
people
thing,
who are profit-minded generally put in the minimum amount of effort for the maximum amount of return, whereas people like Dipper will do what they feel they need to do, as opposed to what they want to do.
the other thing is that obviously they were in Stan's mind, and obviously Bill knows the big reveal. But by going through Stan's mind, he will have also found out about what Stan was doing in the basement, and so there's a definite incentive to let Stan go and keep doing that.
Yeah,
I hadn't thought of that.
yeah, and again, a lot of it comes down to the fact that he's just cocky, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
At
He
no
is
point
arrogant as fuck.
Yeah, no, at no point. Fair, he has reason to, because he does like very casually, essentially kill one of the closest entities the series has to a god
Yes.
Yes.
later on in the series finale, or like adjacent to the series finale, and I'm kind of just like, well, he has the capital to be arrogant.
Yeah.
He just like underestimates people he really shouldn't.
Anyway, we should get on to the absolute finale, which is Gideon Rises. Which again is a good episode, and this is really where Dipper comes into his own.
Which is saying something, because he's been more than competent thus far.
But it's
right? Like honestly, there's probably times when Dipper is like a bit unsettling because of how competent he is.
But it's been done well enough that it's been set up that Dipper can absolutely feel insecure about his abilities because he's had the journal the entire time. We obviously we as the audience
makes you sympathize, because it's like, well, of course you're not like a genius from day one. Of course you had to learn.
He's a 12-year-old.
It's one of those things. Like it's a very Lyndon-esque situation where he doesn't realize that even with the journal, a lot of people would not be doing nearly as well as him.
Oh no, because the point is he's getting the information from the journal, yes, but he's still having to put stuff into action to do it. I mean, this is the season where he fucking captures that what was it called? The Grimoblin.
Grimloblin.
Yeah, like that giant creature that showed people their worst fears. Dipper captured that on his own.
Basically, what we're trying to say is that Dipper's kind of a badass, and he doesn't realize just how cool he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much later on.
Because, he is the nerd stereotype, and, he takes a lot of shit for it. And,
also, season 1 finale is just a very fun showcase of the main three characters mostly, but
Yes, Dipper, Seuss, and Stan.
Not funny, Fuzzy.
Am I wrong though?
Yes.
You are actually.
Well, okay, but Seuss is cool. At least.
No,
Seuss is cool, yeah.
Seuss also has like an all-time great line. Like when he's driving the bus and it's being attacked by the Gideon bot, he looking through the manual. Okay, what's more like our present situation? Raccoon in the engine or an angry grandparent won't leave the bus? Probably the second one.
I don't know. Gideon is very raccoon-like, and his robot has many of those characteristics.
Also, when he's working at the diner and talking to Stan and hugs Stan, and Stan just goes, "The entire lower half of your body is on fire. Shh, we're having a moment." Also, there's so many fucking great Seuss lines in this fucking episode.
Also, yeah, another thing that I like is the fact that like it's perfectly within Stan's power to just end the moment, but he chooses not to.
Yeah,
It's just like Stan is very much a show don't tell sort of character.
yeah.
Like I understand. Like I'm pretty sure there's like a pretty vocal minority of the fandom that just doesn't like Stan because they think he's a dick. Or okay, he is a dick, but they think
he's an asshole.
sociopathic.
But he's a jerk with a heart of gold. He's absolutely
Yes,
a jerk with a
and
heart of gold.
A lot of people don't really see the heart of gold part because
Yeah.
it requires basic critical thinking skills. And
Uh-huh.
you know what they say about the reality of the world says a lot about basic critical thinking skills or lack thereof.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But yeah, just one more fantastic Seuss line from the finale is when Wendy is revealed she might be leaving because the shack's been shut down, and Seuss goes, "Yeah, Dipper especially needs you here because of his huge crush on you." Eucalyptus trees. Kid loves eucalyptus trees. Saved it. Just right in front of Wendy.
To be fair, he tried.
He did try, but it's just so funny that there is a pause of several seconds before he goes, "Eucalyptus trees." Yes, that's what I meant. So funny.
Although to be fair, Wendy is definitely like not. She's much more aware of things than people give her credit for a lot of the time. So she knows.
No, she absolutely knew about his
knew.
crush. She
To
knew
be fair,
from like
Dipper is also very obvious.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like not. It's very like I don't know. I have complicated feelings on Wendy as a character.
Yeah, I think we can get to Wendy a little bit later because
Yeah,
a few episodes, honestly.
I still think like that honest conversation Stan has with his kids at the end is still one of my favorite like post climax conversations in modern animation.
Yeah,
it's really
it's just it's like you can tell that there was genuine emotional impact and like thought that went into this into the writing of this show.
yeah.
That's really a capstone on that.
Also, you gotta love that this episode basically half this episode wouldn't have happened if Gideon wasn't a paranoid idiot.
Oh yeah, Gideon had won. Gideon had absolutely won.
But he thought Dipper had journal number 1.
But yeah, that's
and he had to get that from him.
And the stupidest thing is, if he hadn't have gone after Dipper, he still would have gotten fucking journal 1 because he was gonna demolish the shack, and so he would have found the passage underneath, followed it, and found journal 1.
And
the absolute irony is amazing.
That's really a theme of this show, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is the concept of these self-defeating villains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The petard, it just keeps hoisting.
Yep.
I mean, you'd think people would stop wearing petards after a certain point, but like, I'm assuming a petard is an article of clothing. But I'm pretty sure it's not, but I just like to think of it that way. You just stop wearing the petards after a certain point, but no, they just love their petards.
Yeah.
A petard is a small bomb made of a metal or wooden box filled with powder used to blast down a door or make a hole in a wall.
Then what does that have to do with hoisting?
It's one getting launched into the air by their own bomb because they fucked it up.
That makes a lot of sense now.
yeah. Phrase's meaning is that a bomb maker is blown off the ground by his own bomb and indicates an ironic reversal or poetic justice.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense now that I think about it.
Yeah, it's basically to be caught in your own trap.
Yeah. Be fucked over by your
Like-
own machinations.
Yeah.
It's like activating your own trap card. The funny part of that is that that's actually something that people legitimately do need to do
Mm.
a lot of the time in
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh! It's just a little
But
Fun with
yeah,
Yu-Gi-Oh's a weird game.
it is. But yeah, little Gideon is arrested because he's been spying on the whole town. We should also point out that the reason Gideon was able to take over the shack just by getting the deed is because of Quentin Tremblay.
Yep. Because
Yeah.
Quentin Tremblay put in a weird ass law.
Yeah.
You know, that's another thing that's really funny that I like that they addressed that, because a lot of stories have this element, and it's just like, that's not how the law works in most places.
Yeah.
You don't
and-
own a building just by owning its deed.
Yeah, they set it up by having a complete fucking idiot create the town and therefore write most of the laws. I mean, I do love Quentin Tremblay, and again, a line that just
Which,
makes me laugh so much
You
from
know,
that episode.
there's things you can say about like the American government and legal system in that
Mhm.
regard, but I'm not gonna go into that too far.
Yeah,
But I
You
think you
know
know what
me
I'm
too.
talking about.
yeah, but yeah, like an all-time favorite line from that episode of mine is when he gives Dipper the negative $12 bill,
Oh yeah.
and Dipper is just like, "Wow, this is worthless. It's less than worthless, my dear boy."
It also created one of the most entertaining meme formats. There's meme formats in that show, aren't there?
Yeah, there's a lot
There's
of memes.
several, yeah.
And wow, this is worthless is one of the more fun ones.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so that's season one. Well, season one ends with Dipper showing Stan journal number 3, and Stan initially laughing it off, but at night he descends down to the basement where it's discovered he has journal number 1, and he's taken journal number 2 from Gideon, and now he has journal
Yeah,
number
if you
3.
pay attention during the climax, after Gideon and Dipper fall out of Gideon's giant Gideon mech, when Stan picks up the deed, the journal number 2 is right underneath it, so he grabs them both at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like an accident at the time. But then you realize this is an animated series, and they very consciously had to animate that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the season ends with Stan looking at the portal and planning something.
Finally,
Menacing.
I have them all. Another meme, of
Yeah.
course.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That one's less commonly used, but it's also a good format.
I mean, the most recent example I remember of it was people using it for the end of season 2 of Owl House, with them having Dana Terra saying, "Finally, I've traumatized them all."
Yeah. Sounds
Which,
about right.
again, you'd think it would have happened earlier in the series,
Yeah.
given that it's very much a spiritual successor to Gravity Falls
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so season 2. I mean, again, the first half of season 2 is very much
First half of season 2 is probably some of the best material of the show.
it is, yeah. There's
Like
there's
everything
so many
from
good
Karaoke
episodes.
to Not What He Seems is like the best stretch of the show, in my opinion.
I really didn't like the dating sim episode though.
That is the only episode that I would say is probably weaker. I still think it's good because it gives us quite a bit of Seuss.
Yeah.
It does
It's a
additional
fun Seuss
Seuss. I just
episode.
don't like the other parts of that episode.
I liked most of the episode, honestly.
I mean,
You're just saying this because you don't like Yandere's. Oh wait, no, Mill's the one who doesn't.
No,
like
I'm the
Yandere's.
one who hates Yandere's.
I personally have a probably like Yandere's more than I should.
I mean, the point is, I'm fine with this episode because it portrays Yandere's as the villains they are, instead of like, oh, look at this kooky love interest.
Yeah.
I mean, this is also the episode where Stan tries to steal an animatronic badger, and then gets married to old Goldie.
Oh my god.
Doesn't
That
he?
whole
Don't
in the credits was hilarious.
they get divorced immediately afterwards? I remember there being
Yeah.
a twist to that.
I don't think they got divorced.
Well, Stan's really never been one to respect the sanctity of marriage anyway. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, did you know that there's apparently hints that he had a brief Las Vegas marriage to Ida?
Yeah, I think we
From
talked.
Owl House?
I think we talked about
Yes,
this during
that
the Owl
was
House
mentioned. And
podcast.
considering the fact that
Yeah.
the two creators of the show know each other, that wouldn't be surprising to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, sock opera I think is also a little bit weak.
I mean, it has Bill Cipher being Bill Cipher, though.
Yeah.
The Bill
Sock
stuff
Opera
is-
is the episode I was thinking of. You can understand why the boy band episode confused
Yeah,
me because they both
yeah.
involved stage productions.
Yeah, no,
Mm-hmm.
And Mabel.
the Bill stuff again is good. I just like Gabe is not interesting enough a character. He's meant to be a one-off love interest. And,
I don't
like,
even remember who that is.
It's the
He's
creaky
the-
puppet
He's
guy.
the weird puppet dude, yeah. The weird ass puppet dude.
Are there puppet dudes that aren't weird? Just
Fair
an honest question. Like in fiction, the puppet dude is usually the weird dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, but we also have really great episodes like the bunker episode, golf episode. Society of the Blind Eye is really good.
Yeah.
Society of the
cool.
Blind Eye is also genuinely terrifying because, like, there's two things. Like, Gravity Falls has a lot of things that are, like, incredibly unsettling, but two of the ones that really hit me personally, clones and memory modification. Those
Memory
two
modification
things
is terrifying.
prick with me. Those two things just, like, keep me up at night.
And
I
then
don't-
right after Society of the Blind Eye, there's also Blendon's Game.
Yeah. Just before we move on, wow, I need to check something quickly, but I'm fairly sure I'm right because I'm fairly sure Blind Ivan is voiced by who is it? Oh, it's Peter Serafinovich.
I know that name. I generally don't remember voice actors, but who is that?
Well, he's more of a general actor. So he was the roommate in Shaun of the Dead.
That's not what I know him from, but sure.
Let me find what else he's been in. Come on, IMDb, load up. There we go. He was Denarian Saul in Guardians of the Galaxy.
I remember that guy, but again,
Oh, he voiced Darth Maul in Phantom Menace.
that might be what I'm thinking of, maybe.
He made a couple of appearances in Parks and Rec.
He was also in John Wick 2.
That's where I know him from.
He was the
That's
sommelier. The sommelier.
Yes, okay. Now I know why he's so familiar. Yeah. It was pretty good. I enjoyed him in John Wick too.
Mm-hmm. No, Peter
John Wick are
Serafinovich is
good
great.
movies.
He is
Yeah.
great.
I'm looking forward to 4. Or is 4
Oh,
already
that's
out?
gonna be fucking wild. No, it's next year.
I'm just like looking forward to the day when it just like stops its pretenses and just becomes a superhero movie.
Anyway,
And it's just like, well, you've dealt with every human threat. Now go fight some aliens, John Wick.
anyway.
And he's just like, yes. Sorry.
Love God is another week episode.
Love God is probably one of the weaker episodes in the first. Yeah, I would have to say.
When is
Yeah,
the
Love
unicorn
God.
episode?
Unicorn
No,
episode is
Unicorn
until
second half.
second part of season 2.
Yeah. Oh,
I didn't like the unicorn
season
episode
two.
much.
Season 2A is everything from Karaoke, which is the zombie episode, up through Not What He Seems.
Well,
Can we just talk about like how it's kind of neat that it's a neat little like bookend sort of thing that season 2 is what Dipper thought was zombies, and then
yeah,
season 1 is what Dipper thought was zombies, and then season 2 was actual zombies. I think that's just a like neat little element.
I
And
mean,
Bill, before you try to get technical with me about it, I am referring to the airing, the broadcast.
no.
schedule,
I do agree. I do agree. No, that it is fair. What I was just about to mention was the fact that in the zombie episode, Seuss is again fucking hilarious.
Seuss is great. Oh, I'm gonna eat your brains, bros. Your brains, Seuss.
Because he like, okay, I've seen literally every zombie movie. I know what to do. Immediately gets bitten. And then he's just this like affable fucking zombie.
You know what's funny? That's probably what would happen to most people who watch who claim to know what to do in a zombie apocalypse because they've watched the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But also, can I just say one thing about Seuss? He is hilarious, and we quote everything he says.
Yes. Also, I love the bit where Dipper tries to sing karaoke, where they have to sing karaoke to defeat the zombies, and Stan says, "Mabel, our lives may not be worth this." Absolutely great line.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also,
Again, Stan has a heart of gold, but he is very much still a jerk.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
It's like,
in the
love
same
him.
episode, he says, "The only wrinkly monster who harasses my family is me."
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I like that. Really, that's his character in a nutshell.
I'd also
Yeah.
like to point out that the only reason Seuss doesn't get taken out with the rest of the zombies is he just like gets distracted by the TV.
Yes.
Which I don't know. It's kind of fair.
So
It's like I can't blame him. But I like I'm very lenient towards anything Seuss does and says. So
yeah.
you know.
So I think the ones we really need to talk about before we get onto the middle of the season are
Society of Blind Eye,
Society of
Northwest
Blind Eye,
Mansion
Blendin's
Mystery.
Game, and Northwest Mansion Mystery. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Those are probably the best episodes of the first half of the season before Not What He Seems.
yeah. And those are the very heavy story ones because so this is where we finally learn about McGucket and why he is like he is, which again is really tragic.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like this is the point where it's just like, oh God, I feel bad now.
I feel
Like,
bad
everything-
laughing. I feel bad laughing at
every
him, but
single
it's
thing-
also sort of hard not to.
Yes, but no, you laugh, but you like still you feel bad about it
Yes,
afterwards.
Yeah.
you do.
But yeah, McGucket really is like everything he does and has done thus far takes on a whole new context after Society of the Blind Eye.
Yeah.
And just
Yeah.
it's horrifying. So I will say,
It's heartbreaking, honestly.
yes, and I will say one thing. I know it's in keeping with Stan's character, but it's kind of a dick move not to like fix Lazy Susan's eye. I'm sure he could have at some point.
Maybe.
Perhaps.
Also, that's this is not the episode we get that.
Yes, but it's one of the ones where Lazy Susan is like more prominent than just a background character. So
Yeah. Also,
I figured I'd mention him.
on the funny side, Seuss thought Mabel's name was Maple for half the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't blame him.
Isn't this also the episode with the earworm in it?
Yeah, straight blanching. where Seuss goes, rappers are visionaries, Wendy. If they told me to eat my own pants, I would do it. Eat your own pants, eat your own pants. I guess I have no choice. Why is Seuss eating his own pants?
Because rappers
Absolute
are
comedy.
missionaries.
Yep.
Um. So yeah. So and this is the episode that basically sort of recontextualizes the show because this is because you do wonder why nobody else is like freaked out about some of the shit that's happening, and it's because of the Society of the Blind Eye. Because they're just basically erasing any weirdness that's going on. And it also, does sort of inform why the town is a bit dim.
Mhm.
Yeah, especially
Because
given what.
the use of the memory erasing rate does quite a number on the brain pan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because like once you real and that it would do that to you, right? Like messing
Yeah.
with anything that messes with the brain and how complex it is and how memory works in general. It's just like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense when you think about it, even
Mhm.
like a little bit.
Well, the point is that it's possible McGucket, who apparently was like a big tech whiz, back in the day, he probably could have made a less like problematic memory ray, but it wasn't until like he was actually starting to lose parts of his mind that he realized how bad it
Which again,
was.
this is kind of the scientific method in a nutshell. Sometimes
Yeah.
you just don't realize
And obviously,
what science has wrought.
and none of the members of the Blind Eye, knew enough about science to really try and work with it. So they just saw it as necessary evil. Um, so then we get Blendon's game, which is the return of Blendon Blandon.
Who we didn't really discuss much because but he first appears in Time Traveler's Pig way back in the first half of season 1.
Yeah.
And
So
he gets kind of screwed over unfairly by Dipper.
So basically,
Mabel.
there is an organization that goes around fixing time travel paradoxes. And what's really cool is that in that first time travel episode, Dipper and Mabel do travel through like the events of past episodes, dropping stuff. And if you go back to those episodes, you can see Blendon in the background cleaning up.
And also, wait, was the first episode the one where Mabel was being a 12-year-old, or was it the second episode?
What do you mean by being a 12-year-old?
Being Mabel.
What do you mean by being Mabel?
You have to be
Creating the
specific.
primary conflict of the episode by being an idiot.
I wouldn't say she does that in
Which is the one where she apparently, like, leans her head on a pole for, like, years on end.
that would be the first one.
Yeah, okay. Explains why I don't remember much. I've largely purged Mabel from my memory. We'll talk about that in a bit.
Mm.
Yes.
Um,
But yeah,
I mean, Blendon's game is
you know
is also hilarious. Toby determined is
Yeah.
the Raz Dazzler,
yeah.
and then when
yeah,
they
it actually has some really touching stuff revolving around Seuss and his birthday too.
yeah, so Seuss hates his birthday because that's the day he realized his deadbeat dad wasn't gonna come back.
Which is just tragic.
Yeah,
Again, it's just like the show knows when to play things for comedy and what it very rarely does that thing where it plays something for comedy that it shouldn't have or misses.
well,
the
yeah.
boat
I mean,
on something
it's
like
got good comedic timing because it it really lets you feel the pain that Seuss is feeling back in the past, and then it has that moment of humor when Abuela comes in and goes, "You haven't unwrapped your birthday present." Presses what is clearly the keyboard where it goes, "Yeah, yeah, 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 yeah."
Which again, that's the saving grace of that. Really, is that like yes, Seuss had kind of a terrible father, but that doesn't mean he had a bad childhood.
No,
He had like
Mhm.
love
Yeah.
and care. I'm sure
Um,
Once Stan got involved, he got the father figure he'd always been craving.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
And Stan seemed more than happy to like take that up. As much as he complains, he definitely seems like he didn't really mind picking up the
the
that
point is
particular role.
Seuss basically joined the Mystery Shack staff at 12, and he's obviously, 21, 22 in the show. So they've been together for 10 years.
And
If-
again, he's known Stan from a formative age.
Yeah. So,
Mhm.
If Stan really wanted to be rid of Seuss, he could do it.
It would have happened a long time ago.
Yeah.
You know what? You think helping basically raise Seuss is part of what kind of prepared him a bit more to accept Dipper and Mabel?
Possibly, yeah.
Because like they were the same age when they met, essentially.
Certainly Mabel, I think, it helped because they were similar.
Oh, let's not go too far.
Yeah.
Don't besmirch my baby boy's name by comparing him to Mabel.
Yeah, okay.
I'm slowly letting look. I have to release the vitriol in a contained manner, otherwise it's all gonna explode once we get to the Mabel episode and the
Anyway,
weird apocalypse, and that's just gonna
anyway,
be bad for everyone.
this is where we properly get introduced to Time Baby, who is basically like the god of this world.
Well, he's a god of this world. There's
Yeah.
a strong implication that there are others. It's just not very clear who, what, or where they are. He's
Yeah.
basically the most active one, and even then, he's only active because they mess around with time more often than they should.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Justin Roiland just is so funny.
Wait, was Justin Roiland Time Baby?
No, Justin Roiland was Blendon.
Yeah.
Wow, I did not get that at all.
Yeah, no, it's
Like,
great.
let's be real. Justin Roiland is a great actor. Range is not what he's known for.
No, it's not. He basically does a higher pitched version of his Morty voice.
Yeah. It's like, or in his cameo in Invincible, he was just Rick,
Yeah.
but a college student.
Time Baby's voice is Dave Wittenberg.
Again, I don't remember people
No,
by actor, but like I don't.
I've
Time Baby
I've-
voice actor doesn't
I've
matter
not
as
heard
much
of
because
him before.
I feel like Time Baby's voice has some work done. Probably.
He may
Or
not
do you
be.
think
He's
it's
not
all
showing. He's
entirely
not.
natural?
Gravity Falls isn't showing up on his IMDb, so I'm not 100% sure anymore.
Oh, he voiced Kashi.
Huh.
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
Also,
And Gravity Falls is the one he's ashamed of?
no.
No, I think it's. I
Don't
think
think so.
I think the link is to the wrong Dave Wittenberg on IMDb.
That's also possible.
Because the only things that are showing up are like director credits for German documentaries.
It's probably
it's
a different guy.
one. Yeah.
So yeah, so we get
No, people have range.
people have range, yeah. But yeah, so we get introduced to Time Baby and his whole deal. We also get also get shown that Seuss uses a time wish, which he could basically change time however he wanted it. He probably could have wished for Stan to be his actual dad if he wanted to.
I think he understood that would taint their relationship somewhat.
Probably yes, but Seuss.
Because like Seuss is he seems silly at times, but he has like quite a bit of
he is emotion. He is actually quite emotionally mature.
Yes, he has a lot of emotional maturity, and I think he understands that what he and Stan have is better for the fact that it's not a blood relationship.
Yeah. But yeah, so he instead uses the time wish for a slice of infinite pizza,
which is great.
Honestly,
absolutely brilliant.
Okay, I would have modified it slightly to be infinite pizza with modifiable toppings. Because I think the same infinite pizza would get old.
To be
fair, I'd like to be able to experiment with toppings.
You could just put your own toppings on it.
Actually, now that I think about it, yeah. It's a
Yeah.
good base.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's just a slice of pepperoni pizza, and if you go, I think I also want, you know, sausage on it or mushrooms, you could just get some sausage or mushrooms and just stick it on and eat it. Yes, it won't
Yeah.
come back, but you know, you still get the slice of pizza coming back.
And yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good base. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I think we skipped
the
talking
most-
about we skipped talking about the bunker episode.
Oh, we did, yeah.
Oh God. Yeah, that one's kind of important.
That one's fucking terrifying. And again, another great fucking voice actor coming in, Mark Hamill.
Fucking Mark Hamill, yeah.
That's who played it.
That's who played the
Yeah.
monster, yeah, Mark Hamill.
Huh.
Also, the
It's
shapeshifter.
not that unusual.
Yeah,
Mark Hamill's pretty
terrifying.
cool, and he doesn't like doing things like this. So
No, Mark Hamill
not
is
that
definitely cool,
unusual.
yeah.
Also,
he's still the best
shapeshifter.
voice actor that the Joker has ever had.
Oh, absolutely. Alan Tudyk does come close, but there's no topping Mark Hamill.
Wait, Mark Hamill is also one of the, like, burly bikers?
Oh my god.
Yeah, you can okay, in that case, definitely Mark Hamill just liked the show.
I mean,
That's not unusual.
To be fair, he
I'm
only
not-
had lines in one episode, but it was in episode 3 of season 1. So he was just like, yeah, fuck it, I'm cool with Gravity Falls.
It is definitely up his alley
Yeah.
if you think about it. It's the
I mean,
sort
that's
of
the thing. That's the thing.
things
You know, Mark Hamill absolutely has enough money from Star Wars that he can just do whatever the fuck he wants.
Sure, he even has royalties, so he literally doesn't need to do anything even related to Star Wars anymore.
So yeah,
Yep.
I think he just enjoys doing voice roles.
Does.
He's good. I think he's good at it.
No,
Why
he's
not?
very good at it. He's very good at it.
He's
absolutely.
an excellent voice actor. Yeah.
Yeah, Joker,
Yeah.
Hobgoblin, Ozai, so many. Sticky Beard and Codename Candy. Good God.
He was Sticky Beard.
Yeah.
Sticky Beard was like a regular. He showed up like several times a season.
Yeah.
Again, K&D was a really good show for its time. It was when
Yeah.
censorship was still much stricter than it is now on Cartoon Network, and they still were able to do some good stuff with that show.
Yeah.
He was the Hanukkah zombie in Futurama.
He was the Spectre in Batman Brave and the Bold.
Okay, him being in Batman isn't that unusual.
He was also Claw in Avengers Mightiest Heroes.
That was a really underrated show.
It's good.
It's
But
like
yeah,
it was probably the best pre MCU Avengers property.
Probably, yeah.
And I'm including the comics when I say that.
He
Yeah.
was in he was in an Afro Samurai film.
Again,
God.
Samurai had Samuel L. Jackson in it. It's not unusual that
Wait,
they
we're
also.
getting distracted by Mark Hamill's amazing.
Yes, no. Look, Mark Hamill is cool, and we like him. So it's like,
Yes. Anyways, but the
we
Bunker
can
episode
talk about-
does two important things.
Hmm.
It establishes that there is no clear idea of where the author is, and any real leads we have on his location are dried up at this point. And it also establishes that Wendy knows about Dipper's crush, and she turns him down.
Yeah, in a really
Gently.
really nice way as well.
Yeah, it's a very nice conversation, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Also,
followed
what
up
happened-
by the absolute hilarity of the Gulf War, by the way.
I mean, we could spend so many hours just talking about the individual episodes. We're trying to get through the story stuff. If we,
yeah.
if
So
we-
let's talk about Ford, shall we?
well, no, because we
Hmm.
still have Northwest Mansion Mystery, because that is also
Is
a fairly
One of the best
important.
episodes of the second season, honestly.
Because again, that's the episode that the really rehabilitates
It also is also when the
Pacifica's character.
ship starts making preparations to leave port.
Yeah, Pacifica started getting development in the Gulf War, which is a funny episode. I will
Also,
repeat.
I will say I would have changed the name for
Yeah.
obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But yes, the episode itself was funny. No, I think like I definitely prefer Dipper with Pacifica than with Wendy.
Yeah.
That's a
Oh,
name,
I
right?
agree.
Okay, was she like is she a reference to the restaurant chain? Because now that I think about it, that she does look like the mascot.
Who? Wendy?
Possible. I would not put it past Alex Hirsch, honestly.
It wouldn't be
Yeah.
out of character, no.
Yeah, no. Northwest Master Mystery is probably the episode that kind of turned a lot of the fandom around on Pacifica.
Yeah.
Because she does a lot of really good stuff in the episode.
Yeah.
Not just her relationship with Dipper, but also just her standing up to her absolutely awful parents.
I will say that.
Capitalist
I will
parents,
say though,
which is the
Nathan.
same thing.
I will say though, Nathan Fillion is fucking hilarious.
Oh, Nathan Fillion is great.
Oh, okay.
This show has
Is
some
it just
really
like-
fucking cool voices. Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
it just Disney? Can you just get away with a lot of stuff when you are Disney?
Very possibly. But like
Like,
To
can
be
you
fair, a lot of these voice actors are just guest spots.
yeah.
yes, but even then,
But
they're
yeah,
well
like,
known enough that like
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah.
I
but-
feel like you'd have to try pretty hard for a non-Disney show to get even that much out of them.
But yeah, so Pacifica's dad, like, having trained her to, like, respond to a bell, horrible. Absolutely awful.
That's just like awful, especially considering the fact that what training like because me and Jack have both studied conditioning of the operant and classical kind.
Yeah.
And operant conditioning involves reward and punishment, and the bell very much is like punishment. So I don't
Yeah,
even
no.
want to think about what they used.
It
to
is
actually
horrifying to even consider how what kind of shits would have to go on for a child to respond to a bell like Pavlov's dog.
Yeah, so it's awful. His line when she like refuses to listen to it and is standing up to him, fucking hilarious. Dingly dingly,
Yeah.
is this bell broken?
Yep.
God damn it, Nathan Fillion. Also,
Yeah, no.
saying that they'll eat the butler right in front of the butler.
Oh yeah, that was hilarious.
Again, Preston Northwest is a horrible, horrible human being, but Nathan Fillion makes him so hilarious.
Yeah, he really does.
It's like these are shows like this, especially when they're working within constraints, like of Disney variety.
Mhm.
It really go to show how valuable good writing and voice acting is, and it really shows like why, in my opinion at least, the overall quality of these shows tends to be better than the Adult Swim ones where they don't have restrictions.
Yeah.
It's like I have words to say about Sanderson, but his first law of magic applies to a lot of things. Restriction tend to make things much more interesting than free reign.
So the big things for this episode, beyond, the character stuff, is that I believe this is the confirmation we get that the two agents from the first episode of season 2 are still around. Like, they're in the background of pretty much every other episode of season 2 up until this point. But this is the confirmation we get that they are still hanging around and still investigating things. And the other thing is that McGucket has repaired the laptop that they found in episode 2, and it's got a big old fucking countdown.
Which isn't terrifying at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah,
This episode is also one of the darkest of the series.
no,
it-
like honestly, just the stuff with Pacifica and her parents alone would already make it one of the darker episodes in the series.
Yeah.
Everything else is just compounding that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's all the shit with the lumberjack ghost, the bleeding animal heads.
Fun
just
fact:
like-
the lumberjack ghost is actually an ancestor of Wendy.
Yeah,
That's not surprising.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
But it's a fun fact.
I believe his name is revealed in supplemental material to be Archibald Corduroy or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
So he's either ancestor or ancestor adjacent to Wendy's family.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a direct ancestor, considering the
Probably.
fact that their family is implied to have been here for a while.
Yeah.
But there's also the bit where the shapeshifter shapeshifts into Dipper back in episode 2 of the second season
Mm-hmm.
in this very horrifying pose, and Dipper takes that same exact pose when he gets turned into wood by the lumberjack ghost.
Yeah. I'd also
And
like
again,
to.
the fact that even happens is both terrifying and just how did they get away with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last thing to mention for Northwest Mystery Mansion, we haven't really been talking about the ciphers, but the cipher at the end of the episode, the number 1, 3 times, Stan is not what he seems.
And guess what the next episode's called?
Not what he seems.
Not What He Seems is quite possibly the single best episode of the show.
It's also probably the least subtle cipher in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah,
like
we
to point
should
out
talk
that
about it.
yeah. So just before we get into it, from the last trailer before the episode aired, Alex Hirsch had was there with a puppet of McGucket, and Hirsch just went, it's just gonna be another goofy episode filled with silly jokes for kids. McGucket, it's the end of the world. Ignore him. The end is near.
Even if McGucket hadn't been there, at this point in the series, I don't think anyone would have believed Hirsch.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Well, actually, we'll get onto it at the end of this episode. Okay, I'll try and remember to get onto it because it's so fucking fun. So basically, the agents arrest Stan for stealing government waste. Dipper and Mabel try and find out.
Which I'm pretty sure is actually a crime, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
100% a crime.
That's not just a joke thing. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
that's like an actual serious offense because of the
Yeah,
potential implications of what you can do with that.
Theft of government property at the very least, and also theft of
Horrifically
hazardous
dangerous.
materials. Yeah.
But yeah, so Dipper and Mabel try and find proof of Stan's innocence, find out that he is 100% guilty, and they also find their way into the basement with Seuss, and they see the portal. Stan manages to escape from custody because he's a fucking badass.
They really should have. After the amount of time they spent in Gravity Falls, they should have realized.
Yeah.
They
Also,
probably needed backup.
We didn't mention this, but while I'm remembering about cool guest voice actors, Agent Power, voiced by Nick Offerman.
Oh, that's perfect.
I'm gonna pretend I know who that is.
Ron Swanson,
Mm.
Parks and Rec.
Yeah,
No. Yeah, no, I know who Ron Swanson is.
yeah. Everyone knows who Ron Swanson is, for better or for worse.
Oh,
So yeah,
Yeah.
so Stan makes his way to the portal as well, just as Dipper, Mabel, and Seuss are about to shut it down. They get into a fight as a gravitational anomaly, which has been happening throughout the episode, occurs. It's left to Mabel to push the button. Stan gives a heartfelt speech. Mabel doesn't push the button. The portal opens, and a mysterious figure, the author, steps out. And it is Stan's long-lost twin brother.
which again is one of those things that's very much a trope, but is like handled really in a cool way.
So
Yeah.
the thing that I was
I
going,
absolutely love the bit at the right after the reveal where Mabel's like, "Isn't the part where one of us fades?" And Sue says, "Oh, I am so on it, dude," and promptly passes out.
yeah. So the thing that I was going to mention is that Alex Hirsch is such a fucking troll. like he got wind that people were starting to maybe figure out that Stan had a twin brother and that was the author, because there are absolutely hints to it throughout the
Yeah, no. If there's
first
one
season and a
thing
half.
Gravity Falls is good at, it's the whole hinting thing.
Like really cool hints, and we'll get onto those after this, because some of them are really cool. But Hirsch got wind of this, and so he made a fake fucking picture of McGucket writing in the journals and put it on Reddit, and then took it down as if it had been like taken down by Disney.
Oh my god!
And-
that is
and then, like,
brilliant.
He used
tweeted
to
like,
take the
"I
time
can't."
to do it, didn't he?
And then he tweeted like, "I can't believe somebody leaked this. God damn it!" And it's just like, you bastard, Hirsch. You
You
bastard.
clever bastard.
You evil genius, you. What were you saying, Fuzzy?
I was just like adding to that. But yeah, no, he's like Alex Hirsch knows more than most people how to properly interact with a fandom.
Yeah.
And like that was so much more effective than just denying it or keeping
Yeah.
silent on it.
No, if he
Denial
just
or silence are both confirmation.
yeah.
And so creating a false lead is really the best and only way of preserving tension there.
Yeah. No, it's so clever the way he did it. So clever.
Mm-hmm.
Because it really, like, if he denied it, people just wouldn't believe it. Because he's got a reputation. So yeah, then we get a tale of two Stans. We get so the Stan that we know is actually Stan Lee, and the author is Stanford. So Grunkle Stan, it's Grunkle Stanley.
And they just start calling them Grunkle Stan and Grunkle Ford instead.
Yeah. So Grunkle Stan basically took Ford's identity.
After Ford disappeared through the portal.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, again, it's another tragic episode.
It's also the longest episode besides the 3-part finale. It's like 29 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Stanford is a fascinating character.
He is.
Oh,
Also
yeah.
voiced by J.K.
much-
Simmons.
Yeah.
Look, J.K. Simmons is just amazing.
Yeah.
And you will
Fantastic.
never have me say otherwise.
Mhm.
He's just such
No.
a good voice actor. Honestly, he's probably a better voice actor than he is a regular actor, though he will forever be the J. Jonah Jameson of my heart.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that the MCU brought him back for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because they have a decent sense of casting.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no other option, honestly.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, he was just too iconic.
Yeah. So yeah, we get Stan's various, scams and all that jazz. And the fact that he got banned from so many states. But yeah, as I said, it's a tragic episode because you see how the two brothers fell apart and then had their fight 10 years later, resulting in Ford being sent through the portal accidentally, and Stan working for the next 30 odd years to try and get him back.
the guilt, you can tell in hindsight a lot of his actions make so much sense as just driven by the sheer guilt of what happened, even though it wasn't entirely his fault. And I think that's something even Ford acknowledges at one point, isn't it? That it was not really. It's not like he was blameless, but it was also not entirely on him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So little bits of foreshadowing for the for the reveal. So Headhunters, Stan is absolutely shocked when he sees the wax duplicate of himself.
Yes, right, because he's like, oh,
Mhm.
because like if he forgets that he had been, yeah, no, it's. I think another thing is really just how he seems to always refer to himself as Stan.
Hmm.
Right? He never once uses his full name, and you think, oh, that might just be a quirk, but then
Well,
realize,
yeah, we actually see the license plate of Stan's car is STNLYMBL, Stanley Mobile.
yeah, and it's just like,
I mean, the other two that I know of that are really good are in the first time travel episode. They accidentally travel back for a second to the mystery shack in snow, and a figure in now recognizable glasses pokes his head out. And then in Carpet Diem, when they find the room, there is a pair of glasses that again is now very familiar because they are the ones that Stanford wears.
also, it just like is great just how consistently Hirsch decided to foreshadow everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like he very much demonstrated a thing that turns a lot of people off of foreshadowing. And I know we talked about how good his response was, but I think it's important to note just how many authors get scared of the idea that people will call their plot twists.
Yeah.
And so decide not to foreshadow them properly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think,
which is a mistake.
Yes,
Always a
and
mistake.
I think it's always a mistake. And I think that's really what sets Gravity Falls apart a lot from a lot of the other things. Is he planned the entire series out from day one and foreshadowed as much as he needed to.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think George Martin said it best when he said, like, with regard to foreshadowing, it's like, if you set out your whole book to say the butler did it, and then someone on the internet figures out that it was the butler, and you panic and rewrite your script to say the chambermaid did it, well, you fucked up your whole story.
Yeah. The point is, if people figure out your foreshadowing, that means you've done a good job.
Yes. If people can call the plot twist, it should mean the point of a plot twist isn't to pull a fast one on your readers. The point of a plot twist is to be a satisfying conclusion.
Yes.
Not necessarily a conclusion, but a satisfying turn in the story.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I was thinking of. Hence the name.
But
and that's
not all plot twists need to be foreshadowed, but foreshadowing never hurts a plot twist.
Exactly.
And obviously, the best foreshadowing is the one where you don't notice it on your first go through the story. It's only when you go back that you realize, holy shit, this was so well set up. But again, if they figure it out in the first watch through, then fine. You've done your job. You've set something up properly, which is the important thing.
And speaking of proper setup, oh boy, we really like after the Stanford reveal, we kind of just like it kicks into high gear.
Yeah, sort of
for the possibly the exception of the D Infinity episode.
So there are 4 episodic adventures between A Tale of Two Stans and Dipper and Mabel versus the Future. Dungeons, More Dungeons, Stanturian Candidate, Last Mabel Corn, and Roadside Attraction.
And even all of those have elements that become relevant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
well,
I'd say Roadside Attraction is the closest one to pure filler out of all of those.
I mean, Roadside Attraction is meant to be basically, that calm before the storm, basically.
Yeah, because everything goes straight to hell afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, I do just want to mention Stanturian Candidate for how funny it is. The list of Stan's crimes. shoplifting, teaching bears to drive, burgle bezelment, first-degree llama-cide, that llama knew too much, first-degree thermometer theft, pug trafficking.
Oh god. Dungeons and More Dungeons is also
Oh,
nice, just because it fleshes out Ford a
okay.
little bit.
Also, Dungeons and More Dungeons. Weird Al Yankovic is the wizard.
Yeah.
I'm not even surprised by the voice talent anymore at this point. No, can I say something though? Regarding Stan's crimes, it really says something about his character that there's really nothing too egregious there.
Mm.
A lot of the stuff he's done probably affected like people who could afford it much more than like the general populace.
So the other crimes that we get shown are snacks evasion, pickpocketing, woodpecker baiting, impersonating a dentist, general indecency, golf cart theft, bingo fraud, and telling jokes that just go on and on. I mean, we have things to do.
That is just great. I like self-awareness.
But yes,
self-aware humor is always the best.
The point is that a lot of these crimes aren't crimes anywhere else, but they are crimes in Gravity Falls because of Quentin Tremblay.
I don't know. Snacks evasion is kind of a major issue all over the planet.
I mean, the woodpecker baiting is 100% a Tremblay law.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just saying this is like, you know.
Also,
don't undersell snacks evasion.
Yeah. Also, Tad Strange. Everyone in this town is a Tad Strange, except ironically, Tad Strange. Hi guys, Tad's
like
the name, and being normal's my game.
I just love that a character was invented for that joke.
It's also voiced by I need to look it up, but it's like an actor from a famous like supernatural thing.
Is it from Supernatural?
No.
Again, that would not surprise me at this point in the game. If one of the Supernatural's brothers had voiced
what. I'm gonna look him up right now.
But yeah, we need to we do need to hurry up a little bit, though. I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can get onto the finale stuff now.
Yeah.
So,
there's one more thing that's a bit adjacent to this that I want to bring up is that it's very interesting to see the interactions between Ford and Dipper, and also just the general difference in the relationship we have, and we really see that Stanley is very much the street smart person, but we also see that he's kind of like the more emotional.
Yes.
Of the twins.
He is absolutely more emotionally intelligent.
He's got emotional intelligence. It's just like general emotional attachment. He's just got more of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
we get the parallel a lot in Dipper and Mabel versus the Future, where it's Dipper is paralleled a lot with Ford in the episode, and Mabel a bit with Stan as well.
But at the same time, I think Dipper has more in common with Stan. As I think Dipper is honestly has more. Okay, I'm gonna say something mean, but we're at the finale, so I'm gonna let loose.
Do you want to do your Mabel rant now?
Okay, fine. No, it feels like to me that Dipper kind of combines the best parts of the twins.
Yeah.
Of the Grunkle twins, and Mabel combines the worst parts of the Grunkle twins. So let me do my Mabel rant, and then you guys can like talk about it. Mabel is the only character in the series who is basically the same from day one to the end, to the finale. Up to and including the finale. The only time she has even a hint of growth is the finale itself, at which point the series is over. It's very jarring to me in a series where, remember, she's not even the only 12-year-old in the series. So you can't just chalk it down to age, right? Even her friends seem to have more development than she does.
Do they?
And they're like bit characters. But like, it just, in comparison, it's frustrating to me because I feel that she causes, like, I empathize more with most of the other characters, and as a result, when she causes problems to those characters, it doesn't strike me as funny as it does just frustrating, like vicariously, because I tend to get characters I'm emotionally invested in, I get very invested in.
Mm.
And so seeing like the problems she causes those characters just like frustrates me.
I
It
will
stops being entertaining
say,
to me, it becomes frustrating.
yeah, I will say that Mabel is probably the worst offender in terms of Aesop amnesia.
Yes.
She's not the
Probably
only
was-
one. She is not the
No.
only one, but
She's not, but she's definitely the most prominent one.
yes.
And I don't really know how I would go about fixing that, but I just like it. Also, hang on, I'll be right back. Actually,
But at the end of the day, my response would be is that she's 12.
again, it's just that response would pacify me a lot more if she was the only 12-year-old in the series, and she's really not.
I know.
It's
I
not,
mean,
no comparison
also
is
makes
not.
several boneheaded mistakes. It's not like he
No,
is.
he's not perfect, but he tries.
He tries, but Mabel also tries, just in a different way. She's not
It just
as-
a lot of the time feels like she doesn't. A lot of the time it feels like she just decides to do things that she wants to do, consequences be damned.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, again, 12-year-olds don't have a fully developed sense of empathy. I understand that, but it's just like it's a bit jarring when every other 12-year-old in the series does.
Mm.
Mm.
But yeah, I will say though, coming up on the finale, the other thing that I think really regarding Mabel in particular is that I will acknowledge that she does have just have a moment of growth. It's just like she's had enough of those fake outs that it's just like it would help. I think it would have helped the finale if she hadn't had so many fake outs beforehand.
So what specifically are you referring to? Are you referring to like the whole rift thing being opened? Or is it something broader?
Just a more broad generalization. There's nothing singular off the top of my head because, like I said, I don't remember the singular details as much as I do the impressions, like the general impressions. So it's kind of just like
So what I would say is that it's thinking about it. It is about sort of Mabel's personality, because we see in the moments that she, where she does go through trouble, she very much tends towards repressing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see that absolutely.
And basically, not thinking about something, and that can, and that will lead her down the same mistaken paths, because again, she's 12 and she thinks she's invincible to a certain extent as well. She's very confident, is what I would say. and she's very confident in her own abilities, and that is a character flaw sometimes. But
I
the
would
reason,
not. I would term it more as arrogance than confidence, because confidence at least needs to have some grounding in reality, and she doesn't really.
I would say it's generally confidence that tends towards arrogance sometimes. It's not always arrogance. Sometimes her confidence is founded.
I can buy that. Yes.
And the point is that the only other 12-year-old we spend enough time with to actually, go through this sort of growth is Dipper, and he has a completely different style of character to
Well,
Mabel.
his problem is probably the opposite.
His
Yeah, no,
problem is that he's an overthinker. He thinks about his
Yeah.
problems and then how to solve them so much that he falls into a completely different problem.
Well, he's also just an incredibly insecure person.
That is
Yes,
also
no,
the
he
case.
just-
Yes.
He just has self-esteem issues.
Yeah.
That's honestly, that's probably why a lot of people sympathize more with him.
Yeah, I can see that.
What I will say is, I can absolutely understand you generally, Fuzzy, but when it comes to her decision in Dipper and Mabel versus the future, that's where I empathize more with Mabel. Because she has a fucking horrible fucking day.
Yeah, not to mention, she is completely out of the fucking loop with
Is
regards
there
to
is
the
also that
danger
as
that's
well.
going on.
Yeah.
To be fair,
Like,
that's
Ford
partially on her.
deliberately withholds information from everyone except
Oh
for
well,
Dipper.
okay. Yes, that's also fair. No, but she doesn't really take the initiative to try and learn. But I say I do agree that that's not really on her. Not entirely.
It's mostly on Ford for withholding all the information.
Which he's just like. Honestly, I
also-
feel like. Yes.
So, of course, the fairest person to blame would be Bill Cipher, who tricks Mabel into
Yes.
breaking the rift in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we just blame Bill Cipher for everything, and it's like I think the important thing about a
Villain! He's the
yeah.
fucking villain!
But yes,
Yes, but I
the
think
the point is, throughout the day, she learns that high school, which she's been looking forward to, is going to be hell. Fair. She learns that her best friends can't come to her birthday party, and she learns that the one constant she thought she was going to have in her life wasn't going to be there anymore, and had made that decision without talking to her.
Which, okay, that last one, I can understand why it bothered her, but also, it's probably, again, this is where the fact that Alex Hirsch is a twin really comes into play, because I've heard that that's actually a common problem for twins.
Yeah, twins are, more often than not, incredibly codependent.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a problem when one of them wants to become independent, and the other doesn't.
Yeah.
And the point is,
It's
again,
just-
she runs to avoid her problem, accidentally picks up Dipper's backpack rather than her own, and then sees this guy who she knows can do special things, because obviously Blendon was how Seuss got the time wish eventually, and all.
I will say though, yes.
Also,
go ahead.
Bill possessed Blandon is fucking terrifying.
In general, Bill possessed anyone is terrifying. But no, I will say the reason I don't blame Bill Cipher as much is because he always feels more like a force of nature than a character, right? To a certain
He has a
extent.
lot of character for a force of nature.
Okay, yes, no, but he's very much the sort of darkness lurks in the heart of men sort of villain, where his thing is that he is evil, but he actively brings how he chooses to work is by bringing it out of regular people.
By the way,
Rather
do you want to know how Bill possessed Blendon? Because it does get revealed in the physical journal 3.
Really?
Yes.
How'd that happen?
Basically, after the events of the second time travel episode, everyone started making fun of him for losing the competition to Dipper and Mabel. And even Time Baby apparently called him No Friend in Blandon.
Wow.
So Blendon wished that it would stop. Bill appeared, offering to stop them from bothering him. Blendon accepted the deal, and Bill took over his body.
Well, that's certainly one way to go about it.
Mm-hmm.
Look, you'd never make a deal with the devil with terms that broad.
Yeah. Blendon is not a smart man.
No, he's really not. So yeah, Time Baby dies on screen.
Oh yeah,
Which-
no, and almost all the time police except for Blendon.
Actually, no. The Time Police only sent holo projections there, so they didn't actually die.
Oh, okay.
Again, that's from Journal 3.
Time Baby though is freaking dead.
Time Baby is
I don't think Time Baby can die.
yeah, Time Baby's physical body is like torn apart, but he can reconstitute his molecules.
Yes, but like not so. It's like
It's gonna take him a
it'll probably
while.
Take long enough. It's
Yes.
gonna take. It's one of those things where you can. It's gonna take long enough for the damage to have been done.
Mhm.
He will effectively be dead until he can bring himself back to life.
Yes.
And a lot of crap can go down in the amount of time it takes a god to bring itself back to life.
A lot of crap does go down in that interim.
The cryptogram at the end of the first part of the finale reveals it will take him 1,000 years to reconstitute his molecules, after which he will be extremely cranky.
Understandably so.
Mm-hmm.
Though I will say, if anyone could permanently kill a being like Time Baby, it would be Cypher.
Mm-hmm.
I have to assume they're on similar levels, if differently specialized.
Probably.
Anyway, so we should talk about the finale, because it goes full end times.
Yeah, no. It's called Weirdmageddon for a good reason.
I keep thinking it's called Weird Apocalypse. Why did I think that?
I don't know.
I
don't know.
mean, Armageddon and Apocalypse are basically used interchangeably,
Yes.
even though they're slightly different things. So
Mhm.
you can understand my confusion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, everything goes to shit in part 1. Again, there's still some dark comedy, in that, like, Bill sends out, like, waves of, madness throughout the town, and one of them turns, Susie's grandma into a talking chair.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and then there's
Also-
what he does with all the people. And then he unleashes demons that turn a bunch of people into statues.
Yes, that he basically turns into a throne for himself.
Yep.
The imagery on that isn't horrifying at all.
Yeah.
And also,
Him rearranging Preston Northwest's face.
Yeah.
okay, that one was satisfying for a number of
It was
reasons.
satisfying, but also horrifying.
Satisfying, but satisfying.
I'm just gonna get a picture of it just to, show people. Just because I can.
Content warning for body horror, by
Yeah.
the way.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So, okay, remember when they were trying to snipe him and then Dipper, I think it was Dipper that stopped Ford.
Yeah, I think it was Dipper.
Was it Dipper?
Yeah. And it's in character for Dipper to have been the one that did it. But
There
yeah,
we go.
I feel like a lot of people, a lot of very edgy people would be like, no, why'd you stop them from just killing him? And I'm just like, you're making a lot of assumptions here. First of all, Ford has one thing in common with Bill in that he thinks he's a lot smarter than he probably is. He's very smart, but I don't think he's
No. It wasn't Dipper who threw off Ford's aim. It was a weirdness monster.
Oh, who was it?
It was a weirdness monster.
Oh, never mind.
Oh,
then.
okay.
Yeah. I
That
didn't
was just
think
bad
it was
luck.
Dipper.
Oh, then we were both mistaken.
Okay, so anyway, I'm like 90% sure even if he'd hit the eye dead on, it wouldn't have been fatal.
Probably not. Yeah.
I think that would have honestly just served to piss him off.
Yeah, that's
And,
right.
like,
Okay,
make
so
it
they were in the bell tower. A weirdness wave caused the bell to basically come alive and start ringing.
Mm.
Yeah, that'd do it.
Yeah, by the end of all the chaos and madness, the only people left standing, because Ford and Mabel have both been captured and Stan is MIA. The only ones left standing are Dipper,
last time we saw,
Seuss, and Blendon.
yeah, the last time we actually no, Blendon gets turned into a statue as well, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But yeah, so the last time we see Stan is he's finally apparently gotten tired of Gompers the goat, and then a weirdness wave turns Gompers into a giant, and Stan just goes, on second thought, I'm gonna run like a coward now, and he does so.
Understandable. Have a nice day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just kind of
Oh god, the fucking
There's
Mad
not-
Max stuff with Lil Gideon.
it's very much
Oh, yeah. The Mad Max stuff is great.
yeah, some people take differently to the Weird Mageddon than others.
Also, the weirdness bubbles that turn so Dipper and Wendy morph into birds, anime caricatures, talking meat, and their live action voice actors, so Jason Ritter and Linda Cardellini.
Absolutely great gag, by the way.
Lil Gideon and Ghost Eyes are turned into crude low polygon CGI reminiscent of Money for Nothing. I don't know about that one. Female versions of themselves and old-timey rubber hose cartoon characters. Complete with a silent movie
honestly,
intertitle reading Ah.
You know what's interesting? I'm surprised there wasn't more gender bending going on throughout the series.
Yeah.
That's like the only instance of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of wild.
Yeah, it's usually one of the easiest things to go to. Oda. I don't know if any of y'all have read the last One Piece chapter.
Oh, I read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that awakened something in a lot more people.
Yeah, that was sort of my first thought reading it. Also, while all this is happening, Seuss has become the handyman of the apocalypse, just going around helping people.
Yes.
Honestly, that's really just what he was born to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, this is the closest thing they have in this series to a Messiah-like figure.
Yeah. So then we get part 2, Escape from Reality, where they go into Mabel's prison bubble, which is Mabeland.
Mm-hmm.
We get introduced to the best character of Gravity Falls, Town Darlin' Dippy Fresh.
Also, we get a cat judge voiced by John fucking Stewart.
Yep.
I thought that sounded familiar.
Yep, Jon Stewart.
Absolutely great.
Again,
Judge
I'm not surprised anymore. I'm just
Schwarstein.
yes.
Another hilarious line from Seuss and Dipper regarding Dippy Fresh. Dippy Fresh wants a high five. Seuss goes, sorry, dude, I can't leave him hanging. High fives him. Yes, you're dead to me, Seuss.
Yeah. I do think we should hurry it up a little because we've been going for 2.5 hours already, and I kind of need to go soon.
Right.
Yeah. We can finish up. We're almost done.
So as much as Mabel's character does have issues, that scene at the end during the trial is still really heartwarming.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I just wish it had come earlier in the series.
Yeah. Again, a lot of the conflict throughout the show is between the sibling relationship between Dipper and Mabel, and we don't get enough of those resolutions.
Yes,
where
especially because
show they do actually care about each other.
It takes an additional layer when you see that they're basically walking along the same road as Stan and Ford, and we knew how that ended.
Yeah. But again, there is an element of foreshadowing that isn't how it would play out, because again, there are hints throughout the show
It's
that they are
true.
closer than Stan and Ford were when they were kids.
That's true, yes, and I feel like their upbringing probably had a lot to do with it.
Yeah. So then we get to the final part, Take Back the Falls, because the four Dipper, Mabels, Seuss, and Wendy have gone back to the shack and find out that Stannard's leading a group of survivors there. They decide to try and take on Bill by turning the shack into a giant
A giant mech, yes.
giant mech.
I'm
'Cause
also convinced that it had that capability well before the Weird Mageddon happened.
very possibly,
Possibly.
because the shack is still protected from Bill, so that's their best weapon against him.
I'm sure it just was always a mech,
Yeah.
or at least had those capabilities.
Confirmation that Seuss is an anime fan and shows McGucket anime.
Again, that's not really surprising.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
But it's so funny. And yeah, they take the Shacktron at Bill. They manage to hold off Bill long enough that everyone on the big Zodiac wheel can get together. And then Stan and Ford fucking ruin it because they argue like children.
Yep.
And the
Of
Zodiac
course.
wheel ends up being nothing at all, which again is Alex Hirsch at his best.
Alex Hirsch just being Alex
Troll
Hirsch,
dick.
yes.
Yes. So then everyone but Stan, Ford, Mabel, and Dipper are basically sent running or statuified. And they're locked up. Dipper and Mabel escape to hold off Bill. The two Stans do the old switcheroo. Stan lets Bill into his mind. Ford uses the memory gun and erases both Stan's mind and Bill.
Mm-hmm.
And again, showing that Stan is a fucking badass who cares about his family.
Yeah. Love the line of when Stan is welcoming Bill to his mind. It's like, welcome to my mind. I'm surprised you didn't recognize it.
Mm.
Yes, that was the great little throwback. Also, that confirms that it also confirms that Stan was aware of what was going on in the dream episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least subconsciously, if not fully consciously.
Yeah. And again, this is where the my big issue with Gravity Falls comes in. They do manage to get Stan's mind back, but it seems like it's done very quickly.
Yeah, it was at that point. I feel like he just didn't have enough time to do it
Yeah.
in a satisfying manner.
I believe
Then
it's
leaving it hanging.
I believe it said in Journal 3 that it actually took place over the course of a week.
So apparently Hirsch said in the DVD commentary that he considered drawing it out for like a full episode length, but it was too sad.
Yeah, there's also that. That said, so they then have the twins' birthday party. Stan and Ford announce they're going monster hunting. Stan gives Seuss the shack. Seuss's grandmother moves in immediately. And then the twins say goodbye and leave. And honestly, the first time I watched that episode, I sobbed like a fucking baby.
It was a
I
very
admit,
sad.
I'm pretty sure I teared up a little as well.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, it didn't help that I binged it over the course of a sleepless night, so I may have also been severely sleep deprived and emotionally unstable at the time. So, that doesn't help.
Yeah, there were still a lot of highlights in the episode overall, though.
Yeah.
There is, of course, the absolute hilarity of McGucket getting the Northwest Mansion.
Yeah. because Preston Northwest put all of his money into weirdness stocks, which then obviously
Thanks. Yes.
tanked. And McGucket, did he like win the lottery or something, or did he just manage to buy it like?
No, he managed. He sold a bunch of patents
Okay,
for
yeah,
invention.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, he just like got no. It wasn't random. He just like had enough of his mind remaining to sell a lot of his invention patents and just like got himself a nice little retirement nest egg.
yeah,
Which honestly is about it's it doesn't make up for all the tragedy in his life, but it's something. He didn't
Yeah.
have a tragic ending,
mhm,
right? He at least had
Oh.
a somewhat happy ending, and that's like more than most people can hope
yeah,
for.
Oh, apparently the Zodiac Wheel was just made as a freeze frame bonus for the theme song. The symbols just picked randomly from the storyboarded episodes. And Alex was like, you know what? Because people are theorizing about these, we're gonna throw it in as a little treat.
yeah.
That's fun. Like that.
Also fun is the fact that the bus driver that took Dipper and Mabel back is voiced by Kyle MacLachlan, who I believe certainly worked on, if not starred in Twin Peaks, which was a big inspiration for Gravity Falls.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But yeah,
Fun's great.
overall, it was a very good series, and as rushed as some of the elements were, I think I prefer a rushed series that tells a compelling story from beginning to end
Yeah,
than a series that gets all the time in the world or takes all the time in the world. And
I
then
think my
gets
my
canceled.
yeah my big
seasons in.
issue is that we just don't get enough with Ford. We
Mhm.
get
Yeah,
we get
yeah,
four
it would-
episodes, and two of them he's barely in.
I think it might have made a bit more sense to make the Ford reveal earlier in season 2.
Yeah,
Honestly, I feel like it would have been better if it was a 3-season show and Ford had been introduced in the finale of season 2.
yeah,
That would
Yeah,
have helped
but
the pacing a lot.
again, it's good that it worked out the way it did.
mhm.
And I just like the saving graces for me is that he does do those occasional drawings where he shows what people
Well,
are
I
up
mean,
to after the series.
he's
not just
also
like-
he also released, as I said, there's a physical copy of Journal 3, which is cool, and we get to find
Yeah.
out Dipper's actual name.
Wait, Dipper's not his real name?
Nope,
No,
it's
a
his nickname
but it's on his
because of the
birthmark.
Big Dipper birthmark.
Yeah, his actual
Did you-
name is Mason.
Yep,
Huh.
Mason and Mabel.
Is he the true heir to the Fist of the North Star then?
Sadly,
Look.
no. His arms are too weak for it.
hmm
You never know. He's only 12. He has time. And you don't. And remember, the Fist of the North Star is not about strength. It's about skill. So honestly, he would probably do well with it.
Fuzzy, I want you to look me dead in the eyes and tell me that Dipper would definitely 100% have proficiency with one of the most difficult martial arts ever.
It requires brain power. He's got that much at least.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing
Look,
that the other
wasn't
thing that
in
they
this.
did was the Gravity Falls comic book, Lost Legends, which is also really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Because we get
Yeah, I'm just glad the ship failed. That's all I wanted to say. And with that, I will have to take my leave.
Okay,
Catch you later, Fuzzy.
see ya, Fuzzy.
I now have to write a paper because those
good
are.
luck.
Oh, have fun.
Oh god. Okay.
Yeah,
Bye bye.
see ya.
Thanks for having me. Bye bye.
No worries. So yeah, so one of the because I think there's 3 stories in the comic book. One of them is Dipper and Pacifica interacting more.
That's nice.
Also, the framing device for the comic is apparently there's one night a year where Schmebulok can speak normally,
Oh my god.
and he's basically the one, revealing these stories.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. A line from Schmebulock. I have opinions, loose ends that I would like to see tied up, and certain characters who I think should be with other characters romantically. I think about it day and night. Sips from glass. It torments me. I need to reread that again.
I need to get the comic at some point.
Yeah, but yeah, as I said, my big issue is just the pacing of that last half a season.
Yeah, that is probably like the first half of that back stretch is probably the weakest stretch of episodes.
Mm.
Everything from whatchamacallit, from actually no, it's just the last Mabel Court and Roadside Attraction that I consider weak episodes, honestly.
Yeah, I mean there are some really funny bits in Last Mabel Corn, because the fucking
It's a funny episode. It's just
Yeah.
like the plot is kind of weak.
Yeah. Again, the fucking drug deal in the forest with the gnomes.
Yeah.
Also, Dipper thinking about Wendy's red swimsuit and thinking, maybe if I cross my legs, nobody will notice. Also, one of the things on Mabel's checklist is abolish electoral college.
Oh my god, that's perfect.
And she apparently achieves it, so...
Good.
Oh god, yeah. Ford giving Mabel a crossbow and just going, I haven't been in this dimension for a while. It's okay to give children weapons, right? She instantly takes out a window as well. So yeah, it's a funny episode, but again, it's just... And again, it's part of the reason is that it is... what it's doing in these episodes is it really is, setting up that break between Dipper and Mabel in Dipper and Mabel versus the Future.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, it does feel uncomfortable because, it feels like it feels bad that they are going in this direction.
Yeah.
And I almost I don't know a way to have made it narratively satisfying to make it work, but I would have preferred that they didn't have that break in Dipper and Mabel versus the Future. And really emphasize the strength of their bond.
That would have been nice.
Because, what it brings to mind for me is Stars Align. Because all throughout it, I kept basically waiting for the main pair of Toma and Maki to basically have some problems. For some drama, and as pairs do in shows, and it never happened. But I realized it was actually Stars Align.
Ah.
But I realized it was more narratively satisfying that they didn't, because they actually trusted each other, and it meant that they had a really nice bond. They were still struggling because they were less skilled than their opponents, but the reason they managed to actually win a couple of matches against better opponents is that they trusted each other and they had that strong bond that they never could break, really. And I just sort of wish that we could have had that for Dipper and Mabel. But yeah, it is what it is. But again, overall, it is still a fantastic fucking show.
Mm-hmm.
It is absolutely one of my favorite animated shows of all time. There isn't much that gets up to Avatar: The Last Airbender levels. This does.
Gets pretty close. I wouldn't quite put it up on that pedestal, but it is like...
I mean, Avatar had 3 seasons of 20 episodes, to be fair.
Yeah, true. But Avatar is also one of the closest things to perfect I will ever see in a television series.
Yeah, we should really do a podcast about it at some point.
We haven't?
I don't think
my
we
God,
have.
We haven't.
I don't think we have. No.
God damn.
Also,
do that, then.
I meant to do this at the start of the stream, but got distracted. How did you come across Gravity Falls?
I don't know.
Because
I
obviously
think it was when
we
I
are
was in college.
both.
I just kind of got bored and was looking up
Yeah.
the shows that piqued my interest, and I was like, "Oh, this looks neat." And I proceeded to watch the first season and then change of it. I think I caught up to it around when Northwest Mansion Mystery was about to air.
Because obviously we are both, you know, in the age range where technically we are older than the demographic that it was aimed towards. Let's say.
I mean, we don't have to be in the target demographic to enjoy something.
No, but but my point is that, you know, we are not the target demographic. So it's interesting to know how we learn about this kind of stuff. Because trying to remember exactly how I did. I think I saw a couple of glimpses of it on TV, but the big one was when I was just channel hopping at night. Went on to Disney XD because I think some like Phineas and Ferb was up next, and it just happened to be showing, or in one of the commercial breaks, it happened to show one of the Dippers shorts, one of the Dippers Guide to the Unexplained shorts, the mailbox.
Oh, that's neat.
Watched that, got interested in the show, and ended up searching it out and getting it on Amazon Prime. I mean, we didn't mention the shorts, which are all very funny. Like this fixing
Yeah.
it with Seuss, which is hilarious.
Oh, that was funny. Yeah.
Um,
We can't really go into all those in too much depth.
okay, the one I want to mention is Mabel's Guide to Color, because
Oh, that's funny.
because Stan hasn't seen a rainbow, so they decide to use a mirror to send a rainbow in through the window into Stan's office, and Stan walks into the room going, "Nothing brightens a dark room like light from window. Time to open the window," and just gets blasted by this glare of light and that burns his fucking eyes.
Oh,
no!
that
Why?
whole scene is
Why is this
hilarious.
happening?
Also, that screenshot has also become a meme.
Yeah, and then the ending where Stan just goes, "I hate color more than ever." Also the TV shorts, like the
Dipper's Guide to the Unexplained, yeah.
no, I
It's
mean
really-
the Gravity Falls public access television shorts,
Oh,
like-
yeah, those are
like
fun.
Blubs and Derlin's like PSA that goes badly. Seuss says some words. "If you accidentally eat the prize in your box of cereal, does that make you a specially marked box?"
Oh,
and-
Stan's tattoo was the Dipper's guide.
Yes, it was.
short.
And we eventually learned that it's not a tattoo; it's a burn.
Yeah, it's a burn scar from the warp machine that and the burn scar was caused by Stan's fight with Ford before Ford got portaled.
Yeah. Also, fucking Lefty, which is so dark.
Yeah.
But
And
it's-
then, of course, there's also the Tooth episode, which is also really fucked up.
But there's also
horrifying.
Barrow. Fucking Barrow.
Arrow?
Fucking Mabel's terrifying, worn-out puppet.
Oh, yeah, that shit.
That she gave like we get a flashback to her giving a performance with it, and some random kid just yelling, "I hate Barrow, mommy! I hate it!" And then the hide behind again, just so funny. But yeah, no, Gravity Falls is just an amazing show. I will always recommend giving it a try.
Oh, no.
But I think so. Thank you everybody for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed this episode of the podcast. In terms of future stuff, tomorrow we should be doing the Blades in the Dark one shot, which is going to be fun.
Yep.
Tuesday, gonna keep hiding the secret. We got something special planned.
Oh yeah.
Thursday should be the last Ace Attorney stream. It's gonna be sad but fun to get to the end of that. And
It's a
then
bittersweet thing.
yeah, bittersweet thing for sure. And then next Saturday is the fall anime 3+ episode check-in. There's a lot to go through.
Good God. This season is a fucking monster season.
It is. But again, thank you everybody for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed. Again, hopefully you've enjoyed. Please do give us a follow here on Twitch and on Twitter at storytime_net. And I think we can only end the stream in one way. Reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Bye, gold. Bye!